Afternoon there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the LG Ultragear TEC Gauntlet Season 1, powered by WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon. I'm your host, Satin Forse, and with me on the desk are casters and analysts, Crips and Salty. How are you guys doing? Starting with you, Salty.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, man. And it's actually a pleasure to cast this big game right in front of us. I mean, I don't even have to say what game it is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we are going to get into today's matchups as well. But before that, Crips, how are you feeling, buddy?
I'm also feeling really well. Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Assassin.
Definitely. Things are gonna get heated up, that's for sure. So hopefully these guys have got their air conditioners ready, because today's matchups is gonna come right in front of your screens, and we are gonna be witnessing two epic upper bracket semifinals today. First of which is gonna be Velocity Gaming going up against the likes of GodLike Esports, and then the second is gonna be Enigma Gaming going up against Global Esports. So yeah, pretty tight games, and I feel like that things are definitely going to be spicy. What do you think about this, Salty?
Things are gonna be spicy. Things are gonna be salty. You don't really know what's gonna be the recipe there, but yeah, for sure these are top tier teams in the country, and when they go up against each other, it's gonna be an extravaganza. And the biggest thing is that this is the upper bracket quarter semifinals, right? So they do have a safety net, but again, nobody likes to exploit that beforehand. They just want to go to the finals directly. So why even waste an opportunity? I guess each and every one of these four teams will be trying their level best to qualify in this round itself.
Definitely. Everyone wants to get that seat on the champions table. And if I'm not wrong, all of these teams, they definitely might have seen our reveal of the Gauntlet Season 1 trophy. So, yeah, you don't want to miss the
Yeah.
chance of, hanging that beautiful trophy up your wall, or just placing it on your shelves as well. So, yeah, I feel like that all of these guys, they are going to fight it really, really hard so that they can grab the opportunity to go ahead and get that trophy as well. But, Crips, what are your thoughts on today's matchups before we head on over towards the brackets?
In my opinion, this is going to be a clash of the titans. Velocity Gaming is riding hot on momentum, and they were the team that was undefeated. Godlike Esports also did really well in their group. I feel like they kind of want to solidify their position now that all the groups have been combined together in these playoffs, and they want to prove who's the best. The the pendulum does move a little bit in the favor of Velocity Gaming because they are the more favored team over here, in my
Mhm.
opinion. But Godlike Esports have a chance of defeating them, and I think they would not want to miss that because Velocity Gaming have time and again proven that they are the number one, and Godlike Esports have just been playing catch up. But today, they'll say Godlike, these guys will be playing their hearts out, and they want to dethrone Velocity as the number one.
Through that, I mean, in my opinion, I feel like the Velocity Gaming, they do have a chance of going ahead and taking the victory against the side of God like Esports. More on that later once we do get into their team lineups and intros, because there's a little bit of a spicy information over there as well as to why
Hmm.
we think that Velocity might go ahead and win it away. So let's get on over towards the brackets first and take a look at what's cooking up over there, because we know for a fact that all four of these teams that are going to be playing today, first of which is going to be Velocity Gaming and Godlike. And then we have the second half of the day with Enigma Gaming and Global Esports. So we know for a fact that they are in the upper bracket semifinals, and the winners are going to head on over towards the next stage as well. What exactly do you think about the overall bracket scripts? Because we know for a fact that towards the lower brackets, things kind of took a turn.
Yeah, it was surprised that Samurai Esports were bested by Force One. I kind of expected Samurai Esports to go ahead in the tournament and then maybe face their old rivals again in the lower bracket if things go in their way. But they were eliminated right at the start, and now the losers of these matches will be facing Force One Esports and the esports team respectively. The winners will go ahead to the winner bracket, and over there they will have a shot of making it to the grand finals.
And I do feel like that, Force One Esports and the esports team, they are looking to just go up against these behemoths as well, who are going to come down if they lose against their opponents. So yeah, Force One Esports and Samurai, that was definitely a story over there as well, where we thought that Samurai might just go ahead and take it away, as you said. But hey, Force One Esports, they have been putting up the wins in most of the tournaments other in the country right now, and it looks like that we are definitely to expect a lot of masala after today's semi-final games, because the lower bracket semifinals are going to be intense for sure. Let's take a look at the MVP standings now, brought to you by WD Black. And interestingly, there's a lot of change. So we have got SK
Wow.
Rossi towards the first spot. We're going to be seeing MW1 coming in hot at the second spot, Excali at the third spot, and Rafa is going to be at the fourth spot right now. I know for a fact that you guys missed the MVP standings, but hey, we have got all the stats ready and we are back with the MVP standings as well. And Salty, I want your opinions on the MVP standings, brought to you by WD Black.
The holy, the chosen one, SK Rossi, the god of Valorant, right at the top. He is where he's supposed to be. The KDA is certainly impressive. But I mean, the other guys, they deserve credit. MW1 has been the talk of the town lately, and people just want him to pop off. People want him to reach his full potential. He's already showing what he's capable of. I guess if he gets that proper platform, he can definitely give tough competition against SK Rossi. Now, taking nothing away from Excali, he has been doing this for a while now. He has been consistent. He has been getting those picks. But as a team, Samurai Esports couldn't really, produce good results on the back of his brilliance. But Rafa, this man has been brilliant as well.
I mean, each and every player on the MVP standings, they are individually gifted with their mechanical skills. And I feel like that SK Rossi, you did mention him to be the god of Valorant, but hey, yeah, we can definitely tone it down a little bit. Maybe the god of Indian Valorant, but
Ah, all
the fans, they're gonna be like, they're kind of gonna be sad. They're gonna be like, wait, what? The god of Valorant? No, okay, never mind.
right.
Moving on from there. Excali, again, you did mention that his stats are pretty damn dominating, but at the same time, we know for a fact that Samurai Esports hasn't been performing, but that hasn't stopped Excali from putting up the numbers as well, right? Excali
Yeah.
has consistently been putting up those numbers every single match, but unfortunately, because of miscommunications and all the mess ups coming out from Samurai Esports, they are not able to win most of the matches out there as well. So, Crips, what are your thoughts on the MVP standings before we jump straight in towards the team intros?
I just consider myself lucky that we get to see the top two players in
Mhm.
action today. We get to see MW1 in action in the first game and then SK Rossi. So I'm pretty excited to see both of them today. And
Yeah.
yeah, it is a little sad that Excali isn't going to be playing in the tournament anymore because his journey has come to an end. But
Mhm.
Rafa is still relevant in the lower bracket. And if any one of these teams loses, then they'll be up against him.
The entirety of Samurai Esports, they surely are going to be missed, but we know for a fact that they're going to bounce back stronger in season two for the TEC Gauntlet as well. But hey, let's get on over towards the team intros now, and we are going to tell you guys why exactly do we think that Velocity Gaming might go ahead and take it away as well today against the side of GodLike Esports. It's just a lot of buts and maybes. So yeah, take everything with a little bit of a pinch of salt as well. So let's head on over towards the lineup for the side of Velocity Gaming. And Crips, I want you to go ahead and give your opinions on the side of Velocity and how they have been performing throughout the gauntlet.
I'm really impressed by all their performances. Not exactly sure whether Vibhor will be playing today or MW1. I hope I get to see MW1 because he is on the MVP standings and he's the star performer for the team. He's been fitting really well into that jet role. Ever since MW1 took up the role of the duelist, Marzel has gone back towards either playing controllers or playing sentinels, and he's been doing well in those areas as well. Uh, when it comes to Amaterasu and Ace, these guys are always reliable. Amaterasu, the headstrong IGL, Ace, the clutch minister. So I can always depend on them. Hellfighter has started to become the X Factor. I used to call Marzel the X Factor guy when he was playing the duelist role, but now that he's not playing it and Hellfighter is also a rock solid anchor, this guy has started to become a little more brave. He started to take those aggressive peaks, which he doesn't usually do. So Hellfighter is being given a lot more freedom now on the side of Velocity Gaming, and I absolutely love that because every time someone or the other gets freedom to do things, Velocity Gaming's overall gameplay looks like a very different team altogether. And it makes all the difference. Like the players will still be the same, but you ask one player to aggress instead of someone else, and it kind of changes the entire dynamic. And then your enemy just can't read you anymore.
True that. I mean, Velocity Gaming with all the switch ups as well, right? In recent match and all of their strats that they have been bringing up as well is pretty much in sync with the entire team, and they are doing pretty well in most of their games as well, especially in the Gauntlet. So I feel like the Velocity Gaming they do have that particular edge against this side of Team Godlike Esports as well, where they are having a little bit of a problem in their setups, their entire roster and whatnot as well. We are going to get to that once we move on over towards the side of God like esports. But let's take a look at the player spotlight brought to you by AMD Ryzen Radeon for the side of Velocity Gaming, and it's going to be none other than our most valuable player, MW1. Salty, your thoughts on MW1?
Just said that, right? I mean, 291 kills, 183 deaths, 48 assists, an average combat score of 302, which is insane. I guess individually he has done enough, but the team as a whole has been performing, right? And Team Velocity Gaming, they were quiet for a little bit. They had that phase where they were not really the number one, but then they are back with renewed resurgence. And I guess MW1 has been the flag bearer of that resurgence. So I believe Velocity Gaming, with the presence of MW1, is going to perform really well. Now, what's going to happen on the battlefield? Time is going to tell.
Yeah, MW1 is definitely that game changer as well for the side of Velocity Gaming. Every single time Velocity finds themselves in a little bit of a confused state. MW1, he's like, guys, why do we even scratch our heads? Let's just quickly go in, get the kills, get the numbers up on the board, and move on. That's pretty much what MW1 does. He just presses W, he holds his mice, and then he just, goes ahead, racks it, and gets all of these kills onto his favor. There's been like a lot of times where MW1 just led the team to victory as well. So hey, MW1, amazing performance. Keep on going with this. We hope you are going to be able to perform exactly like this against GodLike Esports today as well. But now is the time to talk about the side of GodLike Esports, and Crips has definitely let you in. Crips is definitely going to let you in on that fact that why exactly do we think GodLike Esports are gonna find it a little bit difficult today? Because even though Deathmaker is there in the team intro picture, he's not going to be playing today, Crips.
Yeah, the absence of Deathmaker is gonna be detrimental to the side of godlike esports. We have all the players in the lobby. So we have Whitehorse, Rexy, Hevan, Antidote, and Flex playing today. No
Hmm.
Deathmaker. The Star Fragger is not present for the team. And rumors suggest that next season he might be entering Velocity. Is that gonna help them? Is that not gonna help them? I don't want to speculate right now because speculation about the future can only be done by Doctor Strange, and I'm no Avenger. Um, but yeah, the absence of Deathmaker will definitely be felt today in the server. I'm pretty sure that Drexy and Antidote can still carry the weight. Hevan can still be the headstrong IGL that he is, and Whitehorse can be the amazing controller that he usually is without any trouble whatsoever. Flex is also a great player, but the sheer amount of firepower that Deathmaker just brings into the server is missing. And you're gonna
Yeah.
need firepower when you're going up against people like MW1.
Exactly, exactly. I was about to mention that as well because Deathmaker's absence is going to be felt really, really deep because the fact that Godlike Esports is going to be facing off against the Titans like MW1, Marzel. You've got all the star fraggers from the side of Velocity Gaming who are just going to go ahead and pop heads from the side of Godlike Esports. And Godlike Esports, especially their star players, such as we know for a fact that Flex, Whitehorse, even Havan up to some point just goes ahead and shows that he still has got the aim game up to point. So the thing is that everyone from the start of Godlike Esports, they have to go ahead and stand tall, especially Antidote. So we know for a fact that at the start of the Gauntlet, Anti had a little bit of a problem. But now that everything is all set and the synchronization is 100% from the side of Godlike Esports, we feel that Anti has gelled in with the team pretty well, and now they are looking forward to go ahead and take the victories as well. So Godlike Esports, we're going to be seeing the player spotlight coming out from them, brought to you by AMD Ryzen Radeon, and let's see who exactly is going to be the player. Their side, who's going to stand out today. And it's going to be Havan, the IGL for the side of Godlike Esports. Salty, your thoughts on Havan, and how do you think is he going to lead the team to victory today?
I guess the kills and the deaths, assists, everything just makes sense. He's been doing pretty well, but there's nothing to talk to write home about. But the biggest thing that Havan has contributed to the team is that he still holds the team together, even if the entire team kind of crumbles. This man is still standing tall and never really loses his calm. Right, that gives them those clutch. That places him in those clutch situations, and most of the time he has been able to come out of those clutch situations winning. So the presence of a player who can preserve and have a mindset of a champion in a situation where you don't probably are not performing to the best of your capabilities is really really helpful. And that presence, Havan's presence, is going to be very very important for a team like Godlike right now. I'm not sure if he's going to lead the team. I'm not sure if he's going to be the IGL and give out the calls. But even as a player, even as a agent out there in that 5-man roster, he has shown his potential and he has shown why he is still very important to Godlike.
Yeah, I have something to add on top of that. Usually, we do see Hevan in the IGL kind of role, but then rumors suggest that Antidote has been taken up the mantle of the IGL recently. It's no surprise because Antidote also was a part of Velocity at one point, and he left the team because he wanted to explore the IGL role more, and he was given that space to work with in Godlike. So let's see what's gonna happen. Even though Deathmaker is not present, we will get to see a godlike today that we have never seen before. So I'm kind of excited to see what these guys bring to the table.
Maybe he's just gonna go ahead and help out Heaven as well in order to,
Yeah.
make those swift plays. Because being an IGL is tough, guys, and making all of these mid-round calls is kind of straining as well. When you are a support player yourself for the team, you have to support the team. You have to use your utilities and at the same time call out the shots as well. So maybe Heaven, he is a damn good tracker, by the way. Don't get me wrong. You guys, probably if you just started watching Heaven, then maybe you guys don't know this. But me, Crips, we all have been watching Heaven from a very long time, and we know for a fact that Heaven is a pretty damn good fragger as well. That Velocity Gaming, their strat is just too diverse and too deep on the map of Haven. So your thoughts on the map of Haven, please.
I really appreciate that none of these teams decided to pick Ascent today. I'm
Hmm.
just glad about that because we've been seeing way too much Ascent in the last few days, and I'm like, abhi kuch aur dekhna hai. So I'm glad they picked up Haven. No surprises actually, and even Godlight did not take the effort to ban that map because they know that Haven is a map that Godlike also can perform moderately well on. Breeze was taken out of the equation right away, and Velocity banned Bind because Bind is like one of the strongest maps of Team Godlike, and they usually like to play a double controller setup on that one. But on Icebox, I'm assuming that they will have Viper for sure. But I'm not sure if Antidote will play the Killjoy, as Salty said, or if he will play the Jet. I mean, he is the primary opper, so let's see what happens over here. Maybe Hevan will also switch things up. And since he's the IGL today, I'm kind of expecting Antidote to play the game a little more centered around him, at least in Icebox. But when we come down to Haven, we both know how these teams are gonna pan out. We both know which agents they're gonna select. I mean, it hasn't really changed a lot in the last few weeks, but the real deciding factor over here will be Split because that's a map that can go either way. Both these teams, they're not the best on Split, but then they're not bad on it either. They don't specialize on this map, but then Split doesn't require specialization as much as Haven and Icebox does.
True that. Completely agree to you on these points. We know for a fact that Split is a map that has been, sort of coming into play as well from all the teams out there in the country. In a best of three, we rarely nowadays see Bind and Ascent. It mostly is like Haven, Icebox, Split, and even Breeze coming out from all of these teams as well. So really happy to see all of these teams just adapting and evolving every single day, every single match. So with that, we are not going to delay this match any further. Let's get on over towards the casters desk and eventually to the game as well. The casters for the day are going to be Salty and Crips. You guys are watching the LG Ultragear TEC Gauntlet Season 1, powered by WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon. We're going to be right back after the message from our sponsors.
Hey guys, welcome to LG Ultragear TEC Gauntlet Season 1, powered by WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon. We're about to jump into the game between GodLike Esports and Velocity Gaming. Both these teams are behemoths in their own rights. Velocity Gaming currently ranked the #1 team of the country, and GodLike Esports have done well in their own group. Now that the groups are combined in the playoffs and both these teams go up against each other, none of them are willing to pull any punches. The maps also are pretty interesting. We have Icebox, Haven, and Split. I'm just so glad that we get to see very tactically oriented maps like Icebox and Haven rather than seeing the good old Ascent, which everyone just brawls on. So yeah, both these teams, I'm expecting them to go frag out, but at the same time, I'm expecting a lot of 200 IQ plays.
Yeah, true that. I guess strategy is going to be a core priority for both these teams, especially on Icebox and Haven, because there is just so much that you can do. There is just so much that you can explore. Again, we talked about this earlier. Godlike, they pick up their favored map of Icebox, considering Bind was just banned right off the bat. And they're pretty good on Icebox scripts. I guess the last time we saw them, they did play well, especially Whitehorse on that Viper. Initially, it was Hevan who used to pick up that Viper role, but then Whitehorse has done himself enough justice. The way he used to flank, the way Whitehorse always goes for the backstab and pinches the other team is absolutely incredible. But I believe that a team like Velocity Gaming, yeah, they will be more experienced in terms of handling those. But we'll have a look at the agent selection, and right at the bat, we can see it is a pretty stable pick, no surprises, and it's even Stevens on both the sides.
Yeah, both of the sides picking up the same lineups, literally carbon copies of each other. So let's take a roll. Let's take a look at which person is going to be playing what role. Whitehorse is going to be playing the Viper, like you said. He is an expert on those controllers. Rexy on his Sova, just as usual. Hevan's going to be playing a Sage instead. So I'm
Hmm.
guessing that this guy will be responsible for shutting down mid and everything.
Hmm.
Antidote on Killjoy, Flex on the Jet. On the side of Velocity Gaming, we have Ace on Sova, Amaterasu on Sage, Vibhor on Killjoy, MW1 on Jet, and Hellfighter on the Viper. So Vibhor and Hellfighter, they basically are the two passive players of the team, and they keep on interchanging the controller
Hmm.
and the Sentinel role with each other. So they have just chosen their pick of poison this time around, pun intended. And Velocity Gaming is going to be starting on defense. Let's jump right into the game, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely. And Helif recently has been really good, right? He has been that anchor for the team, just holds the team together, and everyone just plays around him. Now, I really want to understand how Team Velocity Gaming play right off the bat because they start on defense. Godlike, their task would be cut out. Antidote wouldn't really surprise if, in spite of being on the cage, he picks up the op later on in the half or maybe on the defensive side. But I'm pretty sure he's gonna take that one time or the other, Crips.
Yeah, I mean, he is probably going to take up the operator at some point. We can see how Ace is just sitting right next to Amaterasu, and they're probably discussing something before the game goes live. Now Ace is going to slide back onto his desk, and we are about to jump in, ladies and gentlemen. Freeze time will be, put to an end soon, and these teams will start setting up. We have Antidote. I'm sorry, not Antidote. We have Vibhor, who is setting up the Killjoy utilities on the A side. The turret on top of the server box. That's gonna act as an early warning system. Usually, we see MW1 play on top of that server box where the turret is right now. Um,
Hmm.
and he sometimes likes to opt from there. But for now, it's just a standard setup of A. Uh, nothing too much, nothing too complicated. And just as we're gonna be sorting out the technical difficulties, the game will start, and here we go. So, two early utilities deployed from Velocity Gaming already. We've got the turret on top of the server box and the standard Viper wall on B. And W1 looking to go really aggressive this time, but that's not where the action is. In fact, it's going to be Hellfighter who's seeing the brunt of everything, as most of the people are coming towards him.
Yeah, Team GodLike Esports, all 5 players, they do have a backup, a backstab Killjoy turret as well, and that is going to signify that Team VLT is going for that backstab. But will they get side control in that time period? That's the question. They do have the Viper wall as well. Sage already in prime position to get the plant down. There is, though, the other Sage who is on top, right? The pistols coming. Hevan gets Amaterasu, but Vibhor gets a trade on him.
Yeah, for now, it's a 4 versus 4, and none of the teams are looking to go too aggressive, but Flex finds an opening. He's able to get the kill onto Ace. Unfortunately, can't dash back safely as Hellfighter will be able to pick him off. Still a 2v3. The post-plant snake bites are already in play, and Whitehorse will stop the defuse from happening, but it seems like the godlike players will just have to fight this one out. 2 players now trying to surround them. Antidote is still very far away from the action. Hellfighter is going to have to fight all of this by himself. And finally, backup has arrived, but Hellfighter's popping heads. Now he's up against Antidote. And Antidote is right behind him. No, these guys are prepared for everything.
That was so close. That was so close. But I really, really enjoyed that round, honestly. It went down to the wire. Hellfighter all by himself. He was at 14 HP when he got those 2 kills. And those were clean shots. But Antidote comes in to save the day. The new IGL, it seems like he's doing heavy lifting for his team right off the bat. But godlike, this is just their first round. They need to get a lot more. Team VLT, they're going to be prepared for them this time around. The first round was an aggressive B push. And they got side control on the back of it. But now with a good buy on them, do you think they're going to do something of similar sort? I guess they are pulling something from the same page.
Yeah, Antidote had to go all the way around the B oranges area. And he was able to get that backstab working, and that's how he was able to surprise most of them. The backstab was a little late, but this time Antidote, he's not on the backstab. He's the one who's playing anti-backstab, while his teammates continue to do the same thing. So go for the plant. Doesn't care that he gets revealed, but everyone wanted to challenge him. They're trying to break off the barrier up, and even after that's broken, Hellfighter will be down. Hevan gets away without getting punished. That's amazing.
Wow.
But finally, Amaterasu will kill him. That's it. Snake bites to make sure that these guys can't get over towards the spike just yet, but they're trying to work around the other side. They don't mind pushing with the toxin screen. Velocity Gaming are just so brave, deciding to challenge Godlike beyond the toxin screen, but Flex and Rexy continue to dominate. Clean rounds by Godlike, as they only did be a good bonus round for them. Velocity Gaming, on the other hand, are now upgrading to Phantoms and Vandals. So Godlike Esports, they had a pretty decent B rush. And most of the times, Velocity Gaming decided to not contest them too early on.
Yeah.
They were more focused on keeping their players alive so that they could go for a 5v5 retake.
Yep, true that. I guess Hellfighter as well as Amaterasu, they paid decent respect over there, moving towards the mid area and waiting for reinforcements to come in. This time around, Team GodLike, they switched things up, trying to explore the A region. 3 players on that side, but I guess Whitehorse as well as Right to Ace, they will be prepared. The Idle Drone will definitely reveal positions of Right to Ace, but Hellfighter, he has been unchecked. This can be deadly. The Phantom, I'm pretty sure that Flex will think that there can be somebody here, but if Hellfighter peeks early, this can be bad. This is certainly bad. Haiwan has been taken down, but now Flex realizes that there is someone here, but he won't be able to do anything about it, Chris.
Flex, dinks onto Amaterasu, but can't get the kill, and unfortunately Amaterasu is a Sage, so all that damage also will count for nothing as he can heal himself up. No problem. This was just supposed to be a bonus round. They're not getting kills, but that was kind of expected. Yeah, but the fact that Hellfighter was able to get towards pipes and get away with murder, that was unexpected. They should have been able to stop that. Antidote going very deep towards Snowman. Will spray down MW1. That's great. No backup, which means before he's a little late to the party. Oh, that's unfortunate. Antidote will be able to get away with murder. And because now Vibhor and Antidote are so close to each other, the Spectre and the Vandals will still have more or less the same amount. But Vibhor, very accurate. Rexy wants to come forth, but there's nothing to cover it. Viper Toxin Screen, not put up by Whitehorse this time around, as he already committed it towards A. And there's nothing to help them go towards B uncontested. Yeah, clear lines of sight for Team Velocity over here, as they're able to stop GodLike.
The round really started to crumble, especially when Hellfighter found himself in pipes without being checked. The owl drone certainly got right to Ace, and right to Ace was very careful over there. He destroyed it even before it could check onto the positions of Hellfighter. But nonetheless, Team Velocity, they get the first round right off the bat. But 1-2 the scoreline, which is very respectable. But I guess this is where Team PLT need to start reading what GodLike has been doing. Right, as of now, we haven't seen anything extraordinary. 2B pushes and then 1A exploration, which didn't really go as expected. But that was kind of because of the weaponry. But look at this though. They were pushing through the poison cloud and placing the turret in a very aggressive position, Crips.
That is a pretty aggressive position. In fact, I think that turret might just be able to help them get over information. And by over information, I mean it literally pings every time someone shows up on mid. And that's basically what GodLike is going to be doing. But Antidote, he's able to pick off a Amaterasu towards the B side. And now that is great. Let's see if they're able to continue their reign of dominance. They're trying to move in towards the B side, but that's not where the spike is. The spike is still outside of A. Hevan, he's holding for aggression towards the A side, and he will stop Hellfighter before he gets way too much map control. Flex and Hevan, they try to trade each other out, and Hevan will be able to get a second one as well, now leaving Vibhor all by himself. 1 versus 4. He can see where the toxin screen is. He gets the kill onto Antidote. But unfortunately, once again, that is not where the spike is. The spike is still going towards the A side. I guess he'll probably just have to save this one. Maybe get an exit frag if Velocity came and get out the wrong way.
He can deny the op though, and force Team GodLike to buy it next round as well. But Antidote on the operator, pretty early investment, but they're getting returns on the back of it. I mean, Team Velocity, they played it out to perfection. They split their offense, and they got Team Velocity kind of taking a nap, right? I mean, 2 players on the A side, they were trying to go aggressive, go for the backstab, but they were shut down. I believe it was Hevan who was in perfect position. Meanwhile, the other 2 players, they got the complete side control as well. Rexy does go for the kill, and he really had the kill on the Vibhor. I guess he's going to reserve the op and hand it over to Antidote. But yeah, I think GodLike has been pretty commendable as of yet, Crips.
Yeah, definitely. These guys are a force to be reckoned with. I feel very sad for Team Velocity. I mean, not only do they lose the off, but now they are not in a good position as well in terms of economy. Everything's falling apart at the start of this game, but still, these are very early days and things can change later on. So far, the only change that I'm witnessing is the fact that most of GodLike is trying to come towards the A side with no presence of B. And while all of that is happening, we have MW1 who's trying to push aggressively towards B and see if anyone comes forward or not. Antidote deletes Ace as he's trying to jump peek. Yeah, no information for you, Ace. You'll be greeted with that. Hevan also making easy work of this Ace side, but he might get taken down by Vibhor. Hevan had his barrier orb in his hands. Vibhor tried to take him down, but Flex will be the one who finally stops him. 2 versus 5. Still easy days for GodLike over here.
It was expected. The clear weaponry distinction. Team GodLike, they have those upgraded weaponry. In fact, not upgraded, they retained those weapons. Amaterasu's position wasn't really checked, but Flex was actually aware. But he still gets the pick either way. MW1 slaps one onto Rexy, so that is good. Team Velocity Gaming, they can certainly damage the economy at this point, and they've done that. 2 weapons drop, that is decent. Amaterasu gets a third.
What?
Wait, what? Vitos is being denied. He will come with a back, but that's 1-1. One and out of the roster. They turned around on the back of those insane kills. And I just can't believe that, Krivs. Just tell me that didn't happen.
A 2 versus 5 retake, it did happen, Salty. We can try all we want, but we cannot deny it. Velocity Gaming pull off the near impossible clutch. Amaterasu and MW1, the 2 strongest members of the team. Amaterasu, the captain, he was able to get a kill onto the Jet, and after that he was handed a Phantom, which he made quick work of. He upgraded to a Vandal, and then he just kept on killing and killing and killing, and GodLike also kept on offering them all these fights.
The recon didn't reveal him, and it just crumbled right after that.
Yeah. Oh, but this is really good positioning from MW1. Gets the kill onto an unsuspecting Hevan. Barrier orb as well, so that he doesn't get revived. Oh wait, he himself died. Never mind. I forgot Hevan was playing was playing the Sage. But yeah, that barrier orb basically stops anyone else from coming towards the B side and following up on the back of his aggression. But that's not where GodLike are headed. Unfortunately, Whitehorse also getting picked off deep towards A. And this is just crumbling right now for the side of Velocity Gaming. Somehow Flex is able to bring it back, but while all of this is happening, his teammates are falling towards A. GodLike Esports are playing very split apart from each other, but Flex still flexing his aim skill. This time getting the kill onto Hellfighter, but trouble just does not aim as Ace. He runs out of bullets at the worst time possible, but MW1 is here for the rescue. Velocity Gaming bring it back.
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, 2 insane rounds, honestly. Didn't really expect. The first round was an absolute... It was a momentous effort from MW1 as well as the Rasu. But this time, it was good job at Flex as well. He was hitting those shots. But right to Ace and MW1, they kind of put an end to his run of form.
So GodLike Esports, they tried to split up and they tried to just play their defaults, something that I'm not completely against, but then their trades were just not on point. Flex was able to get a couple of kills, but unfortunately you can't rely on him to pull off all this much. This time, instead of playing for their defaults, GodLike Esports are committing most of their players towards the A site, with Antidote watching the mid area with his operator. Now, if anyone from Velocity decides to peek mid, they will be punished. And usually we do see Amaterasu or Ace try to push that area, but this time Amaterasu comes out of the tunnel. Flex, on the other hand, has already reached the side, and he's able to win the duel against MW1. After getting this opening pick, they are hesitating to go into the side because of all this green toxin. It will hold them back for now, but it doesn't really matter because with a minute still left on the clock, GodLike Esports have more than enough time to make this execute work, and on the lockdown they can do even better.
They do have the lockdown. It's all green at this point, but Team Velocity Gaming, they need to fall back. They do have a reverse lockdown of their own. Hevan, he picks up Flex in the process, so they are a 5-man side right now, but Amaterasu completes a backstab. He gets Antidote, but this time around, Hellfighter through the Poison Cloud tries to go aggressive, but gets taken down. A lot of frags come in, and only Amaterasu is surviving on the back of it. A 1v3 required off him. We know he has done this before, but he needs to isolate those frags, and right off the bat, he will find Rexy. Will he get the frag on him? Tries too many shots. Finally, gets that kill. 1v2. The clock is ticking. Hevan in good position, and he's gonna one-tap that guy. 4-3 the scoreline in Team GodLike. Yep, they get back to their winning ways after losing those 2 rounds.
And I love the Poison Cloud from Whitehorse. He puts that up on the center box over there, and that basically creates a mini one-way so that anyone from Velocity who wants to peek on Rafters cannot really do so. Anyone who's playing towards the zipline tower also will be negated. And the only position that's left for Velocity to play from is the screens area and just the little area outside of it. That is it. That's the only place where Velocity can play from, and that's where most of the fights were happening. You can see so many players went down towards pipes from the side of GodLike, and that was okay because GodLike Esports expected that to happen. They basically stopped Velocity from fighting them on the A side across most of these areas, and they're able to create a safe passage for their team into A. In this round, Antidote is trying to sell a fake towards the B side because once again, he's got the Vandal in his hands and he's moving and he's just trying to make sure nobody goes too aggressive. But oh, the Hunter's Fury committed. It means that Rexy will be a dead man, and Amaterasu also goes ahead to pick up the kill onto Flex. 2 great frags from Velocity Gaming right at the start. And this has slowed down the approach from GodLike. But they still continue to venture towards the A side. Antidote on B has not been activated just yet. What is his move over here?
Nothing. White Horse has been
Last
completely
player
deleted.
standing.
Antidote. MW1 was there to kind of bring him down, and only Havan still remains. The split approach didn't really pay them dividends, especially when they got revealed. The Hunter's Fury came in, and I guess Amaterasu was the one who got a frag on the back of it. Havan, he does get right to ace, but a 1v3
30
acquired
seconds
off him. Not a lot of HP to work with as well, and Helef is slowly progressing towards Havan. This should be an easy run for Team Velocity to secure, but then Havan can certainly turn things around. Helef is going to shut him down, so yeah, Velocity, they even things up.
You can see how GodLike struggled in this round because of the absence of all the utility from Whitehorse. No one way towards the center box, which means that everyone could play from rafters. But still, Velocity Gaming decided not to do it. They were still holding the areas towards screens, as GodLike wanted them to, but this time Ace had a little twist. He was holding the more cheeky angles, and he wanted them to come peek him. He realized that GodLike Gaming wanted to play for contact rather than playing along with the utility. They were hoping that GodLike would be able to surprise them, but that just did not happen. The contact plays do not work against Velocity Gaming.
The Durka jump. I didn't really think he would actually try that, but right to Ace. With the drone, we'll get some information. Team
Oh, no.
GodLike, they're... Wait, what? Havan?
I
No one
really...
checked him.
Exactly,
No
I
one
really thought Weber... I thought Weber saw him. Okay, that was a blunder. But still, Havan does get killed in the end, so at least the lurker is dead now. All the remaining players have got like now heading towards the ace site, and Hellfighter's alone over here, so he can't fight this, but at least he can stop them from planting by putting down those snake bites, waiting for his teammates to arrive.
And they do come in. Antidote, he does get Helef with the Nano Swarm grenade. And here comes the Viper's Pit. Amaterasu moves in aggressive through it. Right to Ace does have the recon dart available as well. Rexy, will he get spotted? Not yet, but the spray comes in. Rexy, he finds right to Ace. MW1 with the daggers, he gets one. But that's as much as he could do over there. Team GodLike, they've been pretty flawless, but this time they had to work hard to get this victory.
Oh yeah, and it was a much harder round considering that this was an eco. They just had a bunch of sheriffs and classics to work with. They sent in Havan through the mid tube, and once he was able to get that kill onto Vibor, it kind of boiled most of the Velocity Gaming players towards the mid area. They were focusing on that spot because they were just wanting to make sure that no other leaks had happened. They wanted to plug all the holes. And while they were focusing on mid, the godlike players decided to go towards A, where only Hellfighter was present, and he also did not fight them. He was just hoping that the poison, the snake bites will delay them. That did not happen. He was taken down by the Nanoswarm, and that was the end of it. White Horse's aggression towards mid has been taken care of. Right to Ace has got a couple of utilities ready to push him back even further. But that is just a consolation because Vibor is trying to sneak in. No, he will be taken down by Antidote. Alright, that does work in their favor. Flex on top of the tube will be able to kill Amaterasu, who was also trying to play mid. He knew that after that mid aggression from GodLike, there needed to be a counter, and Amaterasu wanted to do that, but it was just taken care of. Havan winning the duels towards the ace side will make sure that GodLike is able to go through with the plant, but MW1 exploiting that hole on the barrier orb. Can't get the kill. Now his opportunity is missed. A 4 versus 2. MW1 and Amaterasu were able to pull off a 2 versus 5 retake before. This time he's got Hellfighter along with him. Can they pull this off once again? They've been pretty successful, but they need to pull it off once more. And it seems like Velocity will give it up. They might just go for the save this time around.
They have pretty expensive weapons. Last time out, they had pistols to work with. So it was kind of a suicide mission for them, which eventually worked. But this time around, yeah, they do have expensive weapons to save up, and I guess they will. Team GodLike, though, they get their 6th round on board, and they have been pretty comfortable with the setup that they're playing in Velocity Gaming. Yeah, those mid aggressions are really causing problems. White Horse this time found, got so aggressive in through the mid avenues. It was eventually pushed back, but that kind of focused all of I believe Right to Ace's utilities in the mid area, so he couldn't really use the recon dart and the shock darts in either side.
Yeah, and the recon art is such a useful tool against the Viper Toxin screen. You kind of need that when most of the Godlike players are trying to hit the A site. So far, most of Godlikes have hit the A site time and time again, combined with a little bit of mid. This time, though, the approach is different. The last time they went in for the B push was in the second round, and this time they initiate once again with
Oh,
Flex
no.
getting both the kills. That's it. That's the opening they were looking for, and now they do not need to worry. Most of Godlike are already in there, and Velocity Gaming are just starting to trickle into the side, but they might just be a bit too late already. Evan sees two people at the same time. The double peek will get the better of him, but Flex continues to pop off, this time with the operator.
Yeah. He's got a triple kill already, and I guess he can get more. It was only a matter of time. Right away shuts him down. Rexy gets both them and Team Velocity. Couldn't really do anything with that, and I wouldn't really blame them if it was an equal round for them. But yeah, Godlike, they switched things up. They kind of placed. I believe they had the operator, Team Velocity, but
Yeah.
it didn't really work out, right? Godlike,
it did
Flex got both the kills right at the start of it, which eventually just broke the back of the team.
Yeah, Flex was the one who basically opened up the round for this team. Godlike Esports have been taunting mid. Like every time they have someone positioned over there, but they don't necessarily push. The one time Whitehorse decided to push towards the boiler area, he was sent back. And after that, Godlike decided to go towards the A side. And they've been doing a mid push A every time, but the last time they hit B, and that was a
MW1?
surprise. Oh my goodness, MW1. He's just so aggressive. Nobody wants to challenge him. Nobody even thought that MW1 would come so further ahead into their faces towards the belt area to pick up those frags. And he's able to get away with murder in cold blood. Amaterasu died, but that's okay because Godlike, they are still a man down. Velocity Gaming have the advantage.
Certainly courtesy to MW1 in his early aggression, but I guess he can get more if Whitehorse does not check. Oh my god. At this point, it's just a patient game. They're waiting for information to work with, but this cloudburst might give away his position.
Nah, he's fallen back towards the back of the site where he's got Ace as backup. Hunter Spirit to clear out the common angles, but it's not gonna hit anyone. So no information gathered on the back of it, and as they try to trickle inside, Godlike, they don't need the Hunter Spirit, they just have Whitehorse. This is the third time he's able to win the duel in this position. The only time he was stopped was by Ace, who was holding a cheeky angle. Oh my god, this time Ace has a different angle. The rafters isn't covered, and Antidote pays the price for it. Whitehorse trying to stop them from coming through, but as soon as they tap the spike, the Hunter Spirit stop the plant. Ace is able to get the kill onto Rexy, but unfortunately, it's still a 1v2. Whitehorse. Velocity Gaming in the first 2 rounds have shown us two very different strats. None of them very similar. And if you compare Velocity's first 2 rounds to GodLike's first 2 rounds, they also have a stark difference between them. Like, GodLike hit B on both the first 2 rounds. And it's not even like they combined it with mid plus B or they combined it with some tube aggression. No, it was just straight up B from the greens area.
Yeah.
Velocity, on the other hand, have done some very, very different stuff. They had a mid plus B crunch. In the second round, they went to its A. So yeah, that kind of shows that Velocity Gaming like to experiment in the rounds which they don't expect to win. They want to just gather as much information. They want to see what the default of Godlike looks like so that they can have more information to work with in the buy rounds.
Wow.
And now the buy round has arrived.
Look at GodLike with 3 players expecting an aggression with, but will they be able to hold on to this though? SMG is staring at their face. White Horse. His position will be given out. Heavan has been pinged as well. The Owl drone reveals everybody flex. Tries their early engagement, but right to Ace and MW1. They shut down 2 players. White Horse still holding this position. If he hasn't been checked, this can be really, really lethal. But then it's all green. His screen is completely green right now.
Yeah.
MW1. All you can see is all those poison clouds. White Horse trying to be cheeky, but right Ace. Another kill in this round. A third for him. And Rexy with 5 HP. 1v5 required off of him, but MW1. It's all MW1 and right to Ace in this round. But it was expected, right? An eco round from GodLike. Pretty much pistols and specters and light shields all across. So, yep, VLT, they get their 6th round.
Wasn't even an eco exactly. It was more of a bonus round. So
Bonus, yeah,
they
bonus round.
decided to stack the B side where they expected Velocity to come, and their prediction was correct. Velocity hit the B side, but GodLike Esports just end up giving up all the opening frags to them. The dash was kind of misplaced. Even poor White Horse's position, it was kind of hinging on him having fuel in his poison cloud, but he ran out of it. Yeah, no problem, because this time the setup is completely different. Only one person from the team of GodLike on the Ace side, and that's gonna be Antidote. Flex is opting towards mid, under tube rather, and he's gonna be able to get a kill onto MW1. So that means all the mid aggressions from Velocity Gaming have been dealt with. There is Hellfighter was also trying to now come into its mid area. He's got the poison cloud for cover, but his team trying to break the assault towards the A side, and Antidote is able to tap him the way. Amaterasu and Vibor both put down, and now he's got enough points for the lockdown. Ace needs to make a play over here, and he won't be able to win the duel against Rexy. Hellfighter's mid aggression finally pays off, but unfortunately it's a bit too late because his teammates have already died, and Heavan's behind him.
Couldn't really do anything over there. I mean, brilliant stuff from Flex and Antidote over there. I didn't really expect Antidote to kind of, you know, live up to that defense, defense all by himself, right? He was the solo man. But yeah, Team Velocity Gaming, they just gave 1v1s to him and he obliged. He tapped both of them and that gave him enough time to deploy that lockdown. Again, it's actually interesting to me that Team GodLike, they had to go through that bonus round to kind of save up for weapons. Last round, they had light shields to work with. So that was really crazy for me. But this time around, MW1 holding this very aggressive position in greens. But the Velocity offense looks different. No mid exploration. 3 players on the A side. 2 players going aggressive on the B execute. But the spike is still nowhere. It's still near the entire lobby. So, I mean, is this all an information hunt for them right now? What do you think, Crips?
Yeah, Velocity Gaming are going for an information hunt. They're trying to push into A and B at the same time to see what the defense is like, but nobody coming from mid, from the side of Velocity. I guess the only reason they're doing it is because they are expecting Flex to be with the operator over there, and they do not want to give away his frags to them. But Flex is not playing on mid this time. He's playing on A instead. So that information might just bamboozle Velocity Gaming when they walk into A. The drone doesn't spot anyone. They're also trying to send in Flex at the same time towards the... sorry, not Flex. They're trying to send in MW1 towards the B side, and Flex instead is still holding this area where Vibor is about to walk into his crosshair. Amaterasu decides against it. And while they've made contact in it, this is MW1's chance to go in towards the B side, and he's able to get a pick onto White Horse. Now that Velocity Gaming have displayed information towards both the sides, now that they have been spotted, they need to make a decision, and they decide to go towards the B side instead. Heavan and Amaterasu to intercept them over here. No, not. I mean, have an antidote, not bad. Viper's Pit. Oh my god, that's gonna stop the plant from happening. But the Hunter's Fury is not hitting the right players. It does hit one player, but it doesn't stop the plant from happening. Flex doesn't want to go inside that Viper's Pit just yet. Needs to wait for the backup of his teammate. Where will it come from? Hewan is trying to tap away towards the tin box. Oh my god, Amaterasu reveals himself. That recon dart was perfect, and Flex is able to get the kill onto him. Hewan uses the area rob to get some verticality, but can't win the duel against Hellfighter, and he doubles up. Impressive from Velocity Gaming.
We had to work really, really hard to get this round. I mean, imagine so much information to work with, get taken down in the A side, but then they focused all their men on the B side. So many ultimates popped out, Crips. There were 2 Hunter's Fury, there was a Lockdown, there was a Viper's Pit, but I mean, Hellfighter was just so lethal inside his Viper's Pit. Didn't give any room, any inch inside that, and didn't allow the defuse from happening. I mean, good stuff from him, but Team Velocity Gaming, again, a different approach. MW1 going aggressive in mid, dealing a lot of damage to Heavan, but all the positions will be revealed. I guess Rexy knows that this can be a mid aggression from Velocity Gaming.
Yeah, Velocity Gaming this time changing things up. Flex, on the other hand, he wants to shake things up a bit on his own as he's trying to push in towards A, where Hellfighter will receive him. You can see how different the approach is from Velocity Gaming this time. I mean, in the previous round, they had players go towards A and B at the same time, but not go mid. This time they show presence on mid, but then they fall back. Whitehorse. He runs into an alarm bot, which means GodLike can't throw counter aggression on their own. But now that the alarm bot has been dealt with, I do believe that Antidote will try to push in outside of Q. Unfortunately, he won't spot anyone, but he will hear everyone else come towards the B side, and he's going to relay that information to Hevan, who, despite being slowed and cut off by the barrier orb and the toxin screen, wants to fight. I mean, he's going to keep himself alive, so that's good for now. Recon dart must be broken, and it doesn't reveal anyone through the toxin screen. Good stuff. Nobody else will die. GodLike Esports still have the disadvantage. Velocity can make this work. As Ace is going to be extended that advantage even further, but Hewan one taps him out of existence. Antidote comes through with a few sheriff shots of his own, but he's very low on HP. And then the late lurk from Hellfighter from under tube is able to get the better off him.
Team Velocity actually were trying to get this under tube lurk quite often. I believe a few rounds ago as well, Right to Ace was going for that under tube lurk to get the diffuser. This time it was Helef, because I believe he didn't have to use the Viper's Pit as well. So, I mean, they have been trying to do, mix things, go for that B aggression and then go for a lurk as well. And generally, Team GodLike, they are losing players in that initial contact. And after that, information is being relayed a bit later, which kind of prevents them from deploying men in the mid and other avenues. So there lies a hole in the defense. What do you think about that, Chris?
The holes are changing for GodLike. Every time there's a different chink in the armor. Every time GodLike Esports try to push out to gather information, they are greeted by multiple members of Velocity Gaming. And I think it might just discourage them to some extent. Because how long can you keep on going ahead for information hunt, and how long are you keep on dying just to get that little information, which you probably don't even get to use because you're already 6 foot under the ground. Yeah, so that way GodLike Esports are struggling a little bit, but Velocity Gaming still have to cover up the deficit. They are still 2 rounds behind, and I do believe that they might be able to make this work if they're able to keep this varied form of aggression up. Then they might be able to bamboozle GodLike just enough to tie the scoreline and then hopefully make a comeback as well.
Yeah. I mean, 8 to 10 is a pretty respectable scoreline, and anything can happen from this point on. Team Velocity, they do have to kind of come back 2 more rounds to equalize things up. But Team GodLike, they've been doing pretty well, I guess. Sure, they've been losing rounds. Sure, there is a chink in the armor, but they're still holding on, right? Getting those 3 early rounds in this half was really instrumental for them. But this time around, we can see some sort of aggression. Now, Rexy has information that Recon Dart really reveal most of their positions. And look at this outrun though, and MW1 is going to push on the back of that idol. Will it get him? Yes, he does get Rexy, but here comes Antidote with a headshot. Amaterasu trades him, so 1 for 2 trade. All right, it's MW1 who's been brought back, so it's a 5v3 right now, but Flex finds himself in that backstab. Helef is still looking for it. The turret is going to reveal his position, and this is where Helef is going to come into play.
Yeah, but Flex decides to go back and join his teammates towards screens instead. A better decision because they will have the numbers advantage over here when they're all clumped up together. But the crossfires between Velocity Gaming are just a little too strong. You've got Vibhor on top of that box who will disengage and hopefully lure them further inside where MW1 will intercept them. Nah, GodLike decide against it. They realize that the crossfires are a bit too strong, and as GodLike are trying to save their weapons, Hellfighter will stop them from doing even that. Whitehorse has just managed to let him slip by, and Hellfighter is directly underneath him. Even Hevan, here's someone on top of him. MW1 on the hunt will be taken down, and Hevan doubles up. Oh, this is good because Hevan's making it a little expensive. Might be able to get one more.
Yes, he does.
Good job by Hevan as he's able to take down 3 members before he finally bites the dust. I mean, Velocity still win that round, but at least he makes it expensive for them. This is going to keep the Velocity Gaming economy a little bit humble. If this did not happen, then they would have been snowballing with like 7,000-8,000 credits right now, and because of the reinvestment, they will be brought back down to the 4,000 credit mark. Unfortunately, GodLike's economy is now broken.
Yeah. They'll have to resort to few sheriffs. Maybe they can buy a few SMGs if they want to go for it desperately. But the last round was actually important. They tried to save those 3 weapons for themselves. They had the Phantoms and the Vandals to work with. And had they saved those weapons, they could have probably come back strong against VLT in this round. But that didn't happen.
And Velocity Gaming this time keeping it simple. Straight up A push. They don't use the utility right at the start. They wait for the first pick by MW1, and as soon as he was able to get that kill onto Rex, the toxin screens, the poison clouds, they all went up. They go into the site, they blitzkrieg it, and they're able to get the spike plant without any difficulties whatsoever. Let's see if a similar thing happens this time as well. But Velocity Gaming are spread, they're splitting up. Once again, it's one of those standards A plus B, spread out and gather information kind of rounds with nobody present towards mid. GodLike, unfortunately, are on an eco, so I'm kind of expecting GodLike to play a little aggressively this time and maybe do something wacky.
Nothing as of now, though. I mean, pretty default 2 players on the A side. Flex is playing on the back of his daggers. 4 players, or rather 3 players, exploring the A side. Helef still holding that position. MW1 gets picked onto Flex. So the daggers are already out of the equation. Rexy does deal a little bit of damage with the Sheriff, and Whitehorse might find himself in a very weird spot. No, he looks away in the wrong direction.
They walk past.
They're not looking at each other. They're not looking at each other at all. Yeah, finally right ways. Finally right ways. He's like, oh wait, he's just right beside me.
Yeah, that was a little comical.
You know, like in those Bollywood romantic movies where the hero and the heroine, they just barely touch each other in a railway station and they don't look at each other, they don't have eye contact.
Yeah, that's basically dramatized over here once again. It's funny how he literally walked right past him and Ace did not realize. And then when the sound cues came through, he decided to look in his direction. He thought, that's bringing my teammate. And upon one more check, he sees the enemy. Sees the final enemy too, as he was able to get the kill onto Hevan, and now the scores are tied.
Yeah, but this time I'm expecting GodLike to come back strong because they'll have money to buy weapons. And it's been time, I guess. Team Velocity Gaming, they've been jabbing at them for quite a long time, I guess. And GodLike, they couldn't really reply back in kind. And one of the reasons was their economy. They were struggling to get weapons on board, but this time around they do have that. But they don't have a lot of opportunity, right? They need to do this quick. If they don't get this round again, the economy would be in the dumpster.
Evan. He's got a big challenge on his screens. MW1 on top. Ace and Hellfighter below. He's like, nah, I'm not gonna let any of them through. Just put down that barrier up. That will hopefully delay them for a little bit. And he's playing under this area, which means it creates a little bit of an angle where he can't get shot by MW1, but Ace is still gonna be able to get him. Cloudburst to make sure they can get towards yellow without getting picked off by Antidote as they now move in towards deeper into the site. Flex still watching mid. Unfortunately, nobody will be coming his way as most of the players of Velocity are already starting to head in towards the B site. Spike hasn't arrived yet, but MW1 will pick that duel against Antidote and win it. That's it. No more defenders on B.
Yep, the side is wide open. Rexy, he needs to cover so much ground and Flex on the op. I believe he can certainly save it. The recon dart has been broken as well, so no information on the close one positions, but I guess he knows where they might be, right? But will he engage? That's a real big question.
Yeah, I don't think GodLike is going to go for this one. They've had to save their weapons in so many of these rounds, and most of the times, Velocity sends someone or the other to hunt them down. This time, they're sending MW1 to its kitchens and the remaining players to its snowman. Their first contact will be Rexy. Will he survive this? He can definitely get the kill onto Ace because he had the cheekier angle, but everyone else... Now they started challenging him, and Rexy runs into Amaterasu, gets the kill onto him too. How did he kill MW1? I mean, given MW1 was low on HP, but still transferring onto him was a difficult task.
Vibor really needs to find this guy. He really needs to find this guy, otherwise it was really, really expensive for them. I mean, 3 weapons dropped. Right
Still,
at the end.
it doesn't matter. Velocity Gaming still have money for days. Like, even after reinvesting, they have 4,000 bucks on Matarasu and Ace.
7,000.
MW1 and Hellfighter not even broke, and Vibor is sitting all the way up at 7,000 exactly. So Velocity Gaming can keep on throwing their bodies away. They just want to stop GodLike from saving their weapons because GodLike don't have the economy now. Velocity Gaming can continue to use their weapons. They can afford doing these, but they can't let GodLike save these weapons. The Viper's Pit early committed to make sure that Velocity Gaming are discouraged from coming over here. But we know that Velocity Gaming don't respect these.
They don't. Vitas. His last resort was to use the Viper's Pit early to prevent that aggression, but he needs to be very careful because we've seen them go through these. And again, Amaterasu, MW1, they're still pinched on making this B execute work. Information from Rexy that there is no one in mid, so they're still pinched in that B position. Lockdown comes and will force out Vitas. This is a googly. Team VLT really want to take this, right? But there is a reverse lockdown as well. The Hunters will come in four ultimates already, and right to Ace. He tags Vitas. He destroys the lockdown as well. Vitas will he go aggressive? He gets one. Traces the bullet, but wouldn't be able to get the second one. Hellf already has side control, and the spike will be planted without any worries.
Yeah, but in this 4 versus 4 retake, there's barely any utility to help Velocity Gaming get back into cover. But they don't want to get back into cover. They want to keep fighting. They want to push the envelope even further. GodLike, they need to continue to winning these. They need to continue winning these duels, but it just won't happen. Antidote and Rexy, they will both die. And oh my goodness, Velocity Gaming are relentless. They disrespect GodLike Esports and the Viper's Pit. And the worst part is, now Rexy has a Hunter's Fury. If he had this in the previous round, he would have been able to destroy that lockdown.
Yeah.
Where is the Hunter's Fury when you need it?
I mean, they did have the lockdown. They did try to go for the reverse lockdown, but it was instantly broken. So it was basically fruitless, right? That is one ultimate that's completely wasted. But Antidote, he gets MW1 with a crisp shot, but right to Ace. Wouldn't aggress further, just holding back, right? Expecting Team GodLike to push further. And I mean, this is one chance for Team GodLike to make things even, right? They have the man advantage to work with, not pushing in further. Right to Ace, his position has been given out as well. Havan can just hold this position. Meanwhile, we still have 2 defenders on the A side, so the A aggression can also be broken down. It only comes down to where Team VLT decide to push.
Antidote looking to push. If he gets taken down over here, that will be GodLike's defense crumbling. Oh, Hewan with the judge gets away with murder, and Whitehorse helps him survive the onslaught against Amaterasu. Now Antidote peaks, and GodLike is just winning these.
Spray down.
My God.
I mean, it was a comical moment, right? You deploy your owl drone, you're completely vulnerable, and then Havan just rushes in with the judge. But yeah, that just opened things up for them, and GodLike finally have their 11th round on board. Now they're one round away from overtime.
Overtime.
Yeah, and honestly, looking at the creds, looking at all the buys, it is a pretty even Stevens. It should be a pretty even Stevens round.
So many people from GodLike on B. All right. Seems like they try to predict what Velocity Gaming will do this time around.
Oh no!
And Flex already up on that box, ready to take down MW1, but Hellfighter trades him out. 4 versus 4 right off the bat, and Hellfighter will be healed back up as well. MW1 has been getting on top of that box time and again, and this time Flex was just prepared for it. But Amaterasu wins the duel against Evan, and
Havan had the resurrection available.
exactly, he could have probably resurrected Flex over there, but unfortunately Flex was on high ground, so Evan can't get up there, and now he doesn't have the ability to revive anyone else either. So this is a definite 4 versus 3 disadvantage for the favor for GodLike. Let's see what they deal with it. How do they decide to make do with it? Velocity Gaming still holding. They don't want to push any further. They're kind of scared that GodLike will try to do some shenanigans in order to negate the disadvantage that they have. That's just not happening. And everyone from GodLike is just so spread apart right now. They will never be able to trade with each other.
Yeah, GodLike completely spread people thin, and they're forced to spread people
30
thin.
seconds left.
And I mean, to add on top of that, Amaterasu brings back his fallen teammate. So yeah, that's a 3v5 right now. Whitehorse all by himself. He needs to take first dose of this carnage. He gets 2, kind of brings it back to a little bit. Rexy with a shock dart gets another one. This is a 2v2 right now. The time is running out. MW1, he needs to find the one, but Rexy
10 seconds
gets the
left.
kill. This is a complete Uno reverse card that has come in from Team GodLike, and they
No!
go to overtime, baby.
How do they do it every time? A 3 versus 5, Whitehorse comes in with a double, Rexy with the shock darts, and then he deletes everyone who tries to come in there. You're right, this is an Uno reverse card, and it's a big one. I
mean-
thought Velocity had this in the bag. I mean, who would have not thought they had it in the bag?
How big is Whitehorse and Rexy in this team? Whitehorse all by himself. Nobody checked his position, that's fine, but getting those 2 frags in that big of a pressure situation, and then Rexy with the shock darts and getting the frags, you know, just chopping off Team VLT one by one. Team GodLike, they have a very realistic chance of making this one, because if they don't, this is their mapping. This can get pretty tricky when they move on to Haven and Split.
Now going into overtime, we've got GodLike on the attacking side. Flex walks past MW1, forcing him to reposition. Dash has been baited out as well.
Yeah.
Flex wanting to make a contact. The rest of his teammates will not swing, and he wins those duels. Picks off right to ace, and now, unfortunately, MW1 has to watch both these avenues. He's got Vibor playing towards the server box, so he's gonna be playing contact, whereas MW1 will be the guy who swings. But GodLike are not hitting the A side anymore. They're trying to go back. Hellfighter is the one who is responsible for stopping them over here. But will he be able to do so? GodLike are going to mix it up with a little bit of B aggression and some mid as well. Keep in mind that GodLike, whenever they hit the B side, they've only hit it raw. They've never come through with a mid plus B split. And now that the barrier has been put up, Velocity Gaming are aware that this could be big, but MW1 is repositioned towards the B. He gets a collateral. Hellfighter will be able to win the duel against Antidote, and they're bringing it back. Whitehorse will be able to get behind him, but he can't dodge the shots from MW1, and it's now just
seconds left.
Heavan all by himself, trapped in between the oranges area. Maybe able to get the kill onto MW1, but he's very low on HP, and Amaterasu puts him 6 feet under. Great adjustment from Velocity Gaming. They lose that opening duel. Flex is able to get the pick onto Ace. And then they decide to just hold their ground. They send MW1 back. As soon as GodLike put up that barrier orb on mid to go on the tube, that was it. That was a clear telegraph that they are hitting this mid plus B. And MW1 was able to get into position just in the nick of time to get that collateral.
I mean, that was great. Great repositioning from him. They tunnel visioned Team Godlike to hit the oranges area under tube area, and then I mean, MW1 was in perfect position to shut that down. This time around, the Team VLT, they're trying to do something different. They're trying to hit A and MW1. They have done this time and time again. VLT Vibor, he is in such a very aggressive position, and this is a complete side take. Team Godlike, they paid the respect to give away the side, but now they will try and go for the retake right to Ace. Will bring one man down MW1
He's
holding
all the way to its
screens.
screens. Yeah, exactly. How would have anyone expected him to be to its screens? And this will definitely catch Whitehorse off guard. He might be able to swing and get the kill onto Rexy as well, and he does exactly that. Flex with the op was responsible for killing the players who were coming towards the server box, but now he has to deal with MW1, a player that he never expected to be in that position. And Velocity Gaming bring it back in overtime. They concede the last round of regulation to GodLike in the most unlikely fashion, and GodLike pulled off the 2 versus 5 clutch, but they cannot do anything in overtime, and Velocity Gaming take this map as their own. The cold-hearted killers on Icebox are able to win the map pick off GodLike, and this puts them in an advantageous situation going into this best of 3.
Yes, it was the map pick of Team GodLike Esports, and they played it well. I mean, they were in the lead in the first half. It was a 7-5 scoreline in behalf of Team GodLike, and it could have gone either way. Short was a very respectable scoreline, and it looked like Team VLT could come back and chase them back. But right about time when GodLike got to overtime, it was VLT's trigger to press that kill switch, and when they pressed that, it was just MW1. And he was hitting those shots. He was hitting the bullseye every single time.
You can see how the whole telegraphic play of Godlike Gaming led to their downfall. And there's a reason they were hitting only the B side time and time again, and they were not hitting mid plus B. Because the moment you put up that barrier orb on mid to funnel yourselves under tube, it is clear as day what you're trying to do. And they decided to hold it off for the overtime. They thought that if they don't use it all throughout the match and they pull it off only once in the end, it would work. But nah, Velocity Gaming read it like an open book.
True that. Also, the fact that Amaterasu deployed, I guess, a slow orb in that position, which may have prevented them to, quickly escape that position and allow MW1 the time to get in position so that he could use the op over there, also worked in their favor. So everything just tie up the layers of utilities, just working together, MW1 finding that collateral, and that entire round crumbling for Team Godlike. But it was a pretty close affair, Crips. I mean, apart from the second half where Team VRT looked a bit more dominating, I felt like if you look at the overall game and try and remember every phase of it, it has been pretty even Stevens. Godlike also seemed to be a bit of a dominant presence on Icebox, especially in the first half, or rather the first phase of the first half, because they were winning rounds at ease. So if you look at the overall entirety of Icebox, it was pretty even Stevens, but I'm not really sure what to expect on Haven, where it is Team VLT's home ground, and Godlike, well, they're going to prepare for the worst because VLT are already 1-0 up.
Yeah, they gotta prepare for the worst, and going into Haven, Velocity Gaming not only have the map advantage, but they're also feeling very comfortable. I mean, it's kind of indicative of the fact that Velocity Gaming are comfortable because of the way they were playing mid. You see, none of the teams on the attacking side were able to exploit mid that much. Every time they tried to go under tube or they tried to go from mid to A, they were shut down. And it was mostly the defenders. No matter which team it is, the defenders were the ones who were trying to play mid aggressively. We had Amaterasu push out of tube sometimes. Antidote tried to replicate the same in one of the rounds towards the end of the game. And every time the defenders were the ones who were getting more value extracted out of mid. While the attackers, no matter which team it is, both of them were just relying on A and B executes, occasionally moving in from mid to B. And that too, it was always one person trying to sneak in from either kitchens via tube or under heaven from oranges. Every time someone tried to send multiple people down mid on the attacking side, it failed. And it kind of boiled down to people trying to sneak through from mid rather than everyone rushing through. So that was a key difference. Not even a difference. I would say this was a key similarity between both these teams trying to take mid control on their attacking and defensive side, respectively. Let's take a look at the stats as MW1 and Flex, both the Jets were able to create the maximum impact for their teams.
Yeah. But I guess Velocity Gaming played the Jet and the Sova combo really, really well. I mean, Right to Ace was able to create so much information, and MW1 was able to prove and get kills on the back of it. You remember how many times they deployed that owl drone, and MW1 just followed right behind 10 team. Godlike just couldn't keep up with the aggression. By the time they were
Yeah.
deployed, destroying the owl drone, MW1 was already in position to get a frag for himself. And then it is either Amaterasu or Helef who always are in even if MW1 gets it gets taken down, there's always a potential trade ready for Velocity Gaming. So they wonderfully deployed that strategy, that synergy. Meanwhile, Flex was I wouldn't say a loner in on the side of Godlike Esports. Sure, he was getting well supported by Rexy, but it was just a bit better on the side of Velocity Gaming. MW1 and Right to Ace were just a league above Godlike in this one.
Velocity Gaming did struggle against Godlike to some extent, but I was really surprised by how many times Velocity Gaming let this thing go into a retake situation in the first half when they were the defenders. And most of the time in those retake situations, Godlike was successful, but then you flip the table and you go over towards the second half, Velocity Gaming were the ones who were winning in retakes. So both the teams were better on the retakes while they were on attack. Unfortunately, while they were on the attacking side, none of them were able to exploit mid as much as they would have wanted to. Only in the last few rounds we saw both these teams try to one up each other by trying to outread the other one, and it called for a very interesting game where both the teams were just trying to make sure that they have the proper read. Sometimes they were successful, sometimes they were not. One of them was in a completely different state of mind where the other team was in cruise control, and this time it was Velocity Gaming who came out on top. They win 14-12 on Icebox, ladies and gentlemen. For now, we're going to go on a short break, but after the break we will return with Haven, where Velocity Gaming, not only is it their own map pick, but they also have a map lead. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are watching the LG Ultragear presents TEC Gauntlet Season 1, powered by WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon. Hello and welcome back to LG Ultragear presents TEC Gauntlet Season 1, powered by WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon. You guys are watching GodLike Esports go up against Velocity. Now, Velocity did win the first map. It was Icebox. But surprisingly, it was GodLike who actually picked this map. Now that
Yeah.
we go into Haven, not only are Velocity comfortable on their home turf, but also they have a map advantage, having picked up the map that GodLike chose for themselves.
True that. And again, I'm not really sure if Haven is the best map of God. Like, I mean, certainly it's not the best. They are pretty good on Bind and Icebox. Uh, it's kind of in their lower tiers, to be honest. And I'm not really sure how they are going to perform. What do you think about that, though?
So I wouldn't say that this isn't their best map. They are good at it, but the reason I think Godlike picked up Icebox is not only because they're good at it, but also because they know that Velocity prefer maps like Haven and Breeze over something like Icebox. But then they were proven wrong. I mean, Velocity turned out to be much better on Icebox over here. I wouldn't say they were better, but I will say that Velocity had the better read this time on godlike players. So now that we go into Haven, things are definitely going to be difficult. Let's take a look at the agent selection from both these teams. On the side of Velocity Gaming, we've got MW1 on Jet. No surprises there. Vibhor going back to Killjoy. Ace,
Hmm.
as always, is going to be on Sova because he literally always plays this character. Amaterasu is picking up the Phoenix instead of Sage last round, and Hellfighter is picking up Astra instead of Viper.
Interesting, actually, Cribs, because uh, a pretty basic setup. All right, two duelists, one controller, one initiate, and a sentinel to work with. Amaterasu and the Phoenix is definitely something which we don't necessarily see always. But yeah, on the side of Godlike, I guess we have Antidote on the Killjoy, Rexy on the Sova, Flex on the Jet, Heaven on Reyna this time, and Whitehorse on the
Mhm.
Astra.
Yeah, Hewan and Amaterasu, both of them picked up the Sages last time around, and they kind of played it really well. They were
Mm-hmm.
not only using it to, capture some ground, but they're using it for verticality as well. And there was a little bit of Battle Sage element involved in the game as well. Now that both of them have picked up duelists, this match will definitely be interesting. The only difference between the two teams is the choice of duelists. That is, they have swapped out the Reyna for the Phoenix. Everything else remains the same.
Yeah, pretty much. And again, Team Godlike, they really need to kind of buckle up and come back strong in this one because this is a pretty high stakes game, Cribs. Because if they don't win this one, they go down to the lower brackets and probably face either one of Force One or I believe Team Valor. I might be wrong. Team Valorant, the esports squad, it doesn't really matter because right now, Team VLT, they already start on attack, and by the looks of it, they want to get some information on the C corridors. Whitehorse all by himself deploys the smoke, but Helef and Right to Ace. Do you think they're going to push forward, disrespecting the Nebula itself? Because the defense on the C side looks a bit less tight.
I wouldn't say it's not tight, but yeah, they are kind of knocking on the doors of it. Unfortunately, they decide to fall right back. Hevan trying to push towards the A side will be taken care of by Vibhor. That's the backstabber taken care of. Now they're knocking on the doors of the C side, and MW1 picks that opening frag, dinks onto Antidote, and Antidote is very vulnerable right now. He's stuck over here, and Ace delivers a flying headshot.
Godlike Flex already on the backstab, but I guess it's a bit too late at this point. 1v4 required of him. 1 dash and 1 cloudburst is all that is available, but 4 guys already on site. This is going to be a bit tough for him. He needs to isolate players maybe, and then he can get kills. He gets Helef. That's 1 man down, 1v3 right now.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to pull this off unless Velocity offer him 1v1s.
Look at the crossfire.
Yeah, Vibhor's pretty low on health, and so is MW1. Ace is the only healthy player over here. And if he takes down Ace, this Ace is definitely possible. He does get the kill onto him, but then everyone swings wide, and MW1 runs and guns onto him with that frenzy. Velocity Gaming, this time, they knew that GodLike will push when given the control of the A-long corridor, and Vibhor was kept on the spawn area to make sure that Hevan can't accomplish anything. He got that kill onto Hevan, then joined his team who were just knocking on the doors of the C site, but they hadn't committed yet. As soon as Hevan's kill was picked up, they knew that GodLike knew they're coming towards C, and they're like, alright, no point keeping it a secret anymore, let's just burst in.
True that, true that. This time around, we can see an aggressive A2 push. MW1 though, the Ghost doesn't really sing the songs of death. Flex takes him down, Antidote with the Sheriff gets Helef as well. Early start from Team GodLike. They get a 2-man advantage to work with, but Team VLT, they still have 3 Spectres to work with. They can turn this around anytime they want, and the spike is still not carried. They're still looking out for information. Right to Ace in the short region. I guess there is one guy in the A main corridors, and Phoenix all the way in C corridors. This can be deadly, but Right to Ace, he gets a pick onto Hevan. This can be the direct call that they want to hit A side.
Nah, not yet. The spike is still very much on spawn. They're looking to equalize the man advantage. That's what Velocity wants to do. He gets revealed, but he still wants to fight against Ace. Unfortunately, he can't anticipate Vibhor also coming in from that side. So it's a 2 versus 3. And the HP advantage still lies in the favor of Velocity Gaming. Amaterasu coming in from B maybe wants to cut off the rotations because Vibhor is still very much a noisy person on the A side. He wants them to come towards the A side. Vibhor wants to fight over here. Amaterasu will also join them, but at this point I think it's a bit too late because the rotations have arrived. This is going to be a complete brawl. Amaterasu wants to plant. Antidote trying to peek from heavens, decided to not do it because there will be a person watching him. Now they will all try to move inside, and oh my god, the dash comes through. Amaterasu has to fight multiple people at once, but the turret takes him down. How on earth did this happen? Flex, unexpected kill, now results in an equalized situation for Velocity Gaming, and they might just bring it back unless Antidote taps them both away. Vibhor brings it back in the nick of time. Oh my god, I thought GodLike will be able to pull this off, especially when they were able to win their opening duels towards the A sewers and C. But even after winning the opening duels, even after getting that 2-man advantage, and even after rotating all their players towards the A side, anticipating the push from Velocity, they were not able to stop them. And it all began with that turret frag. You see, Flex dashed in over there. His job was never to get kills. His job was to die. He was supposed to distract the Velocity players towards him so that his other teammates could have an avenue of entry. But then he died to the turret. And then none of the players of Velocity were distracted. They knew exactly where to fight. And it all crumbled.
This time around, Team VLT, they push mid. And 2 players, they're already in a very advanced position. Hevan looking for a pick against Right to Ace. But information has been given out. I guess Right to Ace wouldn't push further. But Flex, look at this. Nice angle holding. I mean, it all comes down to who wins the duel. Amaterasu does that, and I guess this is gonna, open things up. The Nova Pulse does nothing. The lockdown is gonna push things further. Team VLT by so much time, but Rexy, he actually finds Amaterasu in the process. So There's a 1-for-1 trade, but the ultimate is still going, and Lockdown will buy them the time and the space to plant the spike. And here comes a godlike retake, a 4v4.
Yep. Most of the players of Velocity have fallen back towards the mid area, except for MW1, who's still playing behind this site, and he's very much out in the open. This is more or less a one-and-done angle, but he will be able to pick up only one. Unfortunately, can't double up onto Heavan. His other teammates, they are now outside of B with the Astra trying to sneak in from Garage. Oh my god, Vibhor is concussed, he's stunned, and he will still be able to line both of them up! How on earth does this happen? Vibhor! This man is magical! There was so much going on his screen. The concussion, the shock dart. Two people peeking him at once, but he's able to tap them away and then wrap this round up. Oh my god, that is disgusting.
Imagine even if Vibhor failed to do that, Helef was already in position. He was in such a good position in Garage, he could have just wrapped team godlike all the way, and the three players, I don't imagine they could have come back by any means. But look at this, the godlike, they have to resort to a bunch of sheriffs and a frenzy, 2 light shields to work with as well. Nothing in comparison to the full buy of Team Velocity Gaming. 3-0 already on the scorecard. At this point, they can certainly roll out of competition. The seaside completely open, MW1 making his way on the side. I guess he will be pressured by Antidote, who has been completely shut down by Amaterasu, White House falling back. This is pure respect from godlike Velocity. They take the side and take complete control of it, but MW1, he really needs to keep it clean. He does that. He takes some White House in the process. Rexy still trying to isolate him, but as of now, nothing has been successful from godlike.
Yeah, with just a bunch of sheriffs, nobody really expected them to win this round anyway. Just needed to cause as much economic damage as possible. Maybe steal a gun or two. That would be ideal. But even that won't be allowed. Take a look at where Ace is. He's coming in late from Garage with the responsibility of killing everyone inside of that Garage area. But nah, even that won't happen.
The only thing that godlike will be looking for is to drop a few weapons, at least dent the others economy a little bit. But Team VLT, they're gonna team Ace, they get completely clean. All 5 players still standing. I don't even believe if their shields were damaged by a little bit, so they can even save up on that as well. Economy is certainly, snowballing out of equation for Team VLT, but godlike, they are investing heavily in the op this time around. Flex is literally like 50 credits after buying that. This is going to be one investment for success. If they miss this, Team godlike, I'm not sure if they will come back to a respectable score in this half.
Yeah, and godlike really want to pick up these fights. They position 2 people in aggressive positions towards the middle area. In fact, Heavan even wants to go ahead and pick up a fight towards Frost. He knows there's gonna be his teammate covering him, but there is no trade, and Vibhor gets away with murder.
That shouldn't have been allowed. Shouldn't have been allowed, but
yeah.
Antidote. His position hasn't been checked, so he can get a free frag onto Vibhor, but then Amaterasu is definitely there. Take a trade, so Antidote has to be pretty careful. And as of now, Team VLT haven't aggressed further, right? They are looking for information, but they haven't progressed too much. They don't have real estate on the back of it. And so has Team godlike. They haven't been aggressive on the A or the C corridors as well. So it's a pretty even Stevens affair, and 1 minute is old. I mean, it's only 50 seconds on the clock right now, so it's going to be a bit difficult. But look at this. They're actually giving up the A side, or are they? One player is still there, but the defense is pretty thin.
Yeah, now Antidote decides to peek out of Garage and he sees nobody over there, and the lockdown will basically give away every bit of information what Velocity is trying to do. Amaterasu wants to take a kill before the run it back expires, but he won't get it. Still no problem. They will be able to get the planter spike and get into good post-plant positions as well. The standard crossfire between the left corner and the under heaven position is still online, and unfortunately, godlike players don't have any flashes to clear that angle. Yeah, that's a difficult crossfire to break. They're probably going to have to use the Cloudburst. Or maybe they can use the Hunter's Fury. That will definitely push these players out of position. And it tags up a couple of people. But the Nebula is still making things difficult for godlike. As they try to push out, everyone from Velocity is ready with their guns out. Rexy's able to pick up 2 exit frags, but won't be able to make anything out of this, as they still are forced to concede this round. And the worst part is they can't even retrieve their op.
And it does get another exit frag to work with, but yeah, Team GodLike, they are falling apart at this point. 5-0 the scoreline. It doesn't look very healthy for them. And pretty much everything that Team VLT put up on the table is working right now. They don't have to think hard. They don't have to work too hard to actually break apart this godlike defense. But we've seen this happen multiple times, right? It wouldn't take very long for godlike to come back when they are on their attacking side as well. So I guess their best bet as of now is to just preserve and take as little damage as they can at this point.
Yeah, and speaking of damage, they have been losing out on their players very early on in the rounds with no trades whatsoever. They just want to make sure that doesn't happen. And as I say that, Whitehorse takes matters into his own hands, takes Windows heads up.
Take flight.
Still a pretty default spread out for Velocity Gaming, so they're not looking to aggress into any position just yet. Oh, but Ace getting tagged. Rexy can't shoot him just yet through the Nebula. But then Hellfighter is present inside of C lobby. And while I say that, we have Flex who's trying to pick up a fight towards the A sewers area. Godlike have the man advantage. I hope they don't lose it by trying to push and pick up these fights. And you can just see that they're holding these angles, but none of them really wants to commit to a fight. The ball is in the court of Velocity Gaming, and that's what they need to do. That's what they need to hit. Now moving in towards long. There are Nanoswarm grenades present, but no turret, no alarm bot, which means they will be able to move through. And Flex is positioned, will not get checked, will be able to get the kill onto the spike carrier. Oh, but the surprise now, because his other players were already in the site, so they will be able to retrieve it and go for the plant too. But now they're losing their heads. Evan's able to win the duel against Amaterasu. MW1 in a 1v4.
MW1, his position will be given out. The man was double peaked over there. Antidote. Look at the assist. I mean, 3 people assisted the frag, but Antidote was there to put the final nail in the coffin. Godlike finally get 1 round on their back, but they need a lot more of this. And that kind of started when I believe it was Whitehorse with the first frag in Garage. So they really need those early frags. And possibly after that, when they get that man advantage, they can make something happen.
Yeah, finally, Godlike were able to take the man advantage early on in the round and not get traded out by the members of Velocity Gaming.
Oh no.
Flex. Oh no! That's not how you want to do it! MW1 punishes him for his aggression. And Antidote can't trade him out. Now he's all by himself. Backup is arriving in the form of Whitehorse, but he might just be a bit too late. And Ace is there to intercept. Antidote still trapped under heaven, has nowhere left to run, nowhere left to hide. He just needs to fight his way out. And they're getting double peaked. No way Antidote would have survived that.
2 players coming on the backstab. I mean, they do have Helef positioned perfectly to completely rip this apart, but will he get the frag? So that is a question. He spots both of them. He gets one, and it appears like he's gonna take the next one as well. Yes. Good stuff by Team VLT. Kept it clean. They experimented too much where they kind of gave away the man advantage where they lost the first round. But this time around, they again move back to the basics. A complete A-shot push where MW1 punishes Flex with the op. And then Antidote could do nothing on the back of it. When they have the man advantage, Team VLT is absolutely ruthless.
Yeah. And the only time VLT lost that round was when Godlike was able to pick up that man advantage away from them. So now you see, Godlike have identified their win condition. They need to stop dying right at the start. They need to stop feeding into the crosshairs of Velocity Gaming. And that's why they've taken this tactical timeout, so that they can figure out what's going wrong. I mean, they do know what is going wrong, that's for sure. But how do they fix it? The position of Hellfighter Stars kind of indicates that Godlike Gaming, they want... I'm sorry, not Godlike. Velocity Gaming, they want to challenge Godlike over there. 1 star on Garage, 1 on C corridor, 1 on A long corridor. It kind of indicates that Velocity Gaming want to spread out and pick up these fights all over the map. They want to pick up these opening frags and then work on the back of it. And that's why all his stars are placed so differently. And Godlike know this. It's not like they don't know what's happening. They know Velocity Gaming want to pick up these opening frags, but what do they do about it?
Well, nothing much as of yet, but
Get out of my way.
Ultimate invested early on. The daggers.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is new. I
this is
mean,
certainly new.
I've
mean,
never
Heavan
seen
hasn't.
GodLike. I've never
Yeah, right?
seen Heavan push up towards C before.
It's not just Heavan. There are two guys who are actually pushing up the C corridor. This can actually be fruitful, but then Antidote moves past the Astral Divide. Couldn't really deliver on the back of that gravity well, but then Heavan, he has someone take him down, but Helif couldn't really find the frag. 2 early kills, and this can really mean a fortune for Team GodLike. MW1, the Astral Divide denies him the kill, and Rexy, he gets the frag, but it's a 1-for-1 trade again. Heavan needs to find a pick onto Vibor, and he does that. Will they get the defuse? So that is a question, right? To Ace all by himself. He does have the Hunter's Fury, but he has someone who can, charge him at him. He gets an exit frag to work with. Gets 2, but gets raided out as well.
Yeah, GodLike Gaming says, you know what, Velocity Gaming want to fight us on all parts of the map? You know what, we'll bring the fight to them instead. 2 people push down the C-long corridor, getting into those backstabbing positions before the round even begins. And they were so deep down that as soon as Velocity Gaming decided to hit the B site, the Astral Divide was present. Antidote tried to stop them for as long as he could, but that was his only job, just to delay the spike plant long enough to let his teammates get into good positions, to let the backstab come through. And as soon as that happened, Velocity Gaming had no post-plant positions available. Heavan once again pushing out, this time along with Whitehorse as they win the duels on C. But now that they have C-long corridor in control, they've lost control of Garage, Amaterasu and Ace, both of them picking up kills towards different parts of the map. It kind of splits up GodLike Esports players, and now Rexy has been picked off on A. The 2 remaining players, Antidote and Heavan, one on C entrance, one on the bottom of C corridor, have no way to trade with each other. And the spike is already going down on A. Velocity Gaming take this to heart. They knew that GodLike will try to go for something similar this time around, and even though they lost the opening duel, it was completely fine because they won it on every other part of the map. They respond to losing the control of C-long by taking Garage instead, and that is how Velocity Gaming roll. You take something away from them, they will take everything else away from you.
Pretty deep over there, but the last 2 players just surviving and saving their weapons. As of now, Team VLT have been really, really flawless. Will get the 7th round on board though, but I guess Team VLT would love to finish this quick, right? They're keeping it pretty clean, not losing in men unnecessarily, and haven't been going for those desperate stuffs. I mean, 7-2, the scoreline, it looks like Team VLT is going to walk away with it. But again, GodLike, they do have what it takes to kind of turn things around when they go on the attacking side. So I'm just waiting for that. But as of now, the damage is pretty much, right? I mean, GodLike is injured already.
Yeah, GodLike is injured, they're limping, probably a leg even cut off.
Ooh.
How do they walk away with this one? Let's take a look at whatever Velocity Gaming have done to respond to GodLike's aggression. You see, when Velocity Gaming were leading, when they had an absolutely dominant scoreline, GodLike with zero rounds, at that time, what Velocity was doing was just trying to spread out and pick up as many kills as possible. Sometimes they're not win these duels, sometimes they win them, but that's okay because they know how to respond to it after that. GodLike were like, all right, they want to fight, let's bring it to them. They push out 2 rounds C continuously, and it works out in their favor once. But the next time they do it, instead of going to plant towards the B site where they can easily get wrapped around by GodLike, Velocity Gaming decide to go towards A, while still leaving Amaterasu on Garage. That means now GodLike don't know what to expect. Is it still gonna be a B crunch? Is it gonna be an A crunch? Because you got picked off everywhere. And GodLike, after losing so many players and losing so much map control, the only place that was in their favor was the C-long corridor. And what do they do with it? Because that's not where we are. Oh my god.
They've been doing this again and again, right? They were trying to explore the A shot quite a lot. MW1 pushing in long, Rexy just trying to deny him that space, but then all these players come in. Heavan, he gets a second for himself. Helef already in position, but the Lear is gonna deny him a 3rd for Heavan. He is absolutely on a roll right now. Right to Ace. Does have the job of...
He just needs to stay alive right now. That's all he needs to do, because take a look at where his teammate Vibhor is. He's on the defender spawn. He can work the biggest backstab in the world if Ace stays alive.
Last player
But he
standing.
won't.
The timing, I mean, it does take him a lot of time to not give away sound cues and make such a big backstab, but Vivol is still unchecked. He might get flags, but that will give away his position already. White Horse is in prime position, shut him down, but Vivol does have the lockdown available as well, but does he have the spike? No. So, yeah, I mean, pretty much he has to take that
30 seconds left.
1v3 fight with which he can rescue the spike. But again, it is a very big ask for him, and even if he gets one pick, he will be multiply peaked, and that's how he's going to go down.
GodLike Esports, they still want to fight. You see, in the last few rounds, GodLike was able to push out C-Long corridor and win these fights. This time they did it on A, and they had triple stacked A. That means anytime Velocity members try to trade with each other, GodLike have more bodies to throw at them. And the worst part was the spike got dropped. While Velocity was still alive on the A side, GodLike had already left Garage and C. Vibhor was deep inside Garage, while Velocity members still had 2 players alive. And if they stayed alive for long enough, if the spike did not get dropped, then Vibhor would have been able to work that backstab wonderfully. Oh, this time Hevan wants to challenge Hellfighter once again. Gets tagged. He's gonna fall back. Antidote wants to solo peek towards Garage. He's able to get one, but the gravity well will suck him inside. Amaterasu's run it back. Will yield him 1 kill, bringing it to a 4v4. But in a 4v4 situation, the odds favor the attackers. Not anymore, as White Horse is able to pick off Amaterasu. But while they're fighting towards Garage in C, MW1 already has A in the bag.
Yup, complete control. And I guess right to Ace and the Astra will find their way as well. Now, no defense from GodLike as of yet, but 4v3, a retake should be quite beneficial to them. But they have the Hunter's Fury as well, so they can defeat. Right?
Yeah.
Look at those lineups coming in. The shock darts.
Yeah, the shock darts basically did nothing because that's not where the plant was happening. It was not happening towards the default spot. It was happening under heaven.
They pretty much knew that they do have the Hunter's Fury, they do have the shock darts available, so they'll try and go for the default plants. But nonetheless, this is Team VLT. Good close on positions, and Lear doesn't do much, but GodLike, they get 3 frags back to back. A retake which shouldn't have happened. And the entire crew crumbles.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. They put down the Cosmic Divide, which basically meant that Velocity Gaming cannot play from long and short. All the post-one positions were negated, and they were forced to just fight on the back of that crossfire from under heaven and the left-hand corner. That shot from Rexy was ridiculous, though. Like, he turned around 180 degrees and headshotted Ace in the face. That was a very difficult shot to land, and Rexy being able to do that, being able to win these fights, it just kind of means that GodLike want to just rely on firepower right now. And they have been able to get these rounds on the back of that firepower itself. Like, Velocity Gaming always somehow managed to outsmart them, but if GodLike keep on winning fights like these, then no amount of tactics in the world will work. Oh my god, MW1 quick with the follow-up.
Yeah, but don't want to trade him. The gravity well was pretty aggressive. But look at this, Heaven has been time and time again pushing in, either through the C corridor or through Garage, and has been finding kills. A 1-for-1 trade.
Lockdown holds them back for just a little bit, but they do not use the Hunter's Fury to destroy it. They want to keep it available for the post-plant. White Horse is trying to hold him off for as long as possible, but unfortunately he will be forced out of the site. Can he get back to safety before the lockdown detains him or before Velocity kills him? Yep. They're all able to get outside. GodLike still have a 4v4, and this retake should be fairly successful. The only person that they really need to stop is Ace, because that Hunter's Fury in the post-plant position can be disastrous.
Yeah, but they already have one player, right? I believe it's going to be Heaven, who is already coming in from the backlines. Look at this. He will be able to take down right to Ace, and that way, I guess the Hunter's Fury can perfectly be negated, but he's already given out sound cues, sprays coming in, and Ace getting the kill onto Heaven. That makes it, right? Antidote all by himself, a 1v3 required of him. Now comes the Hunter's Fury, and it'll jump down, and he gets LF. That's about it.
That is about it, as Velocity Gaming are able to win these fights. Last time you saw how
Switching
GodLike,
sides.
they just blitzkrieg into the site and just deleted all of them, slapping Velocity in the faces. Rexy with that 180-degree turnaround was able to successfully enable his team to go for the retake, but this time Velocity win these fights. They stop Heaven's backstab, everyone else coming in from the defender entrance, and Heaven was destroyed. And Velocity Gaming decide to say, you know what? You want to fight? We're gonna bring it to you. We're able to hit some headshots as well. And with a great lead of 4 rounds, they walk into the second half and they are on defense.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like Godlike can still come back. I mean, a 4-8.
Right here.
I mean, 4-8 sure is a very respectable scoreline, especially on Haven. And now that they are on the attacking side, I really want to see what they can bring on the table. Of course, White Horse trying to get some information on the C side. I believe it's Reina. I believe it's Hevan on the corridor as well. He's actually pushing up. Now, that's a very early duel. That's very early contact against MW1. But will he be able to win the duel? No, not really, Hevan. He completely destroys MW1 over there. But the call is still not yet there. I guess he wants to get complete side control. Meanwhile, Amaterasu kind of falling back. Antidote still not pushing in through Garage.
Yeah, Antidote was just trying to keep the players of Velocity Gaming anchored on the C side.
Concealment.
And he's done that to some
Mm.
extent, but the only difference is they're not anchored on C, they're pushing C. That's it. Now, the only question is, will this backstab come in time? Or will Vibor have to hold on to the A side all by himself? He's able to get one. Will be traded out, so no surprises over there. But the spike will be planted without any problems.
Right to ace. The shot dart comes in initially. The backstab Helif has to be really, really perfect. Dings gets dinged as well, but Antidote is going to shut him down. So that's a 1v3 that is required off of right to ace right now.
An impossible situation, but at least he gets the position of one of the players towards the left-hand side.
Dings Antidote gets a kill, but that's about it. I guess 33 HP, nothing much that he can find over there. Flex finally shuts him down. A 5-8 scoreline. Godlike find their first round. I believe they're gonna put all in this next round and try and win this. I'm excited if Team B and D actually do something, pull something new as well. Maybe go for a mid rush, maybe go for an aggressive eco round.
Yeah, I do believe they will have some sort of aggression planned. They really want to just throw off the aggression from Godlike and try to dent their economy as much as possible so that the next round, the bonus round, which Godlike are supposed to have, is not that impactful. And they're positioning most of their players towards Garage and B.
Placing swarm grenade.
So, kind of indicates that they are expecting Godlike to push out of mid, but Godlike also are being very passive right now. Godlike expected Velocity to aggress somewhere towards mid, and that's why they are holding these angles. They are making sure that Velocity don't have any tricks up their sleeve. And now that they know that the sleeves are empty, they finally commit to it.
Placing alarm bot.
They had pistols to work with, right? So therefore, they had to resort to numbers, and that was a big guess. That was a big gamble for them to kind of go in towards the C side. It didn't really work out. It's a complete YOLO A push, and White Horse to get MW1. MW1 did put an end to Heaven in the process, but Flex does have the Spectre available. White swings with the spray, doesn't get many, but I guess Vibor is still holding on. Antidote will
One
wrap
enemy
around him,
remaining.
gets kill. It's a 1v3 yet again, and Amaterasu. Nothing that he can pull off with a shorty over there.
Yeah, Velocity Gaming, they tried to jump the players of GodLike Esports as soon as the spike was planted. They wanted to make sure that GodLike are not able to get into post-plant positions, hoping that they will be able to get the kills while they are still on that green box, because they spotted Rexy towards C. Now, they knew that since this is like a 1v3 of sorts, not 1v3, more like a 2v3 of sorts, they knew that if they're able to kill the two players who are still on the site right now, and stop them from getting into post-spawn positions, they can defuse the spike, and then Rexy won't be able to stop them because he's far away. That's why they decided to just YOLO push out. But it's okay, it was an eco round anyway. Velocity were never supposed to win this one. This is the one round that matters, and Hevan is upgraded to a Vandal, so he's gonna have to be the hero for his team this time.
Yep, pretty much. Vibor trying to hold back the aggression all by himself. 3 players trying to charge in. The garage area is pretty much lit up, but then decide to disengage and fall back. Interestingly enough, all the utility has been laid upon the B side, so even that is going to be difficult to kind of explore.
Yeah, but GodLike are gonna have a tough time getting into either A or I'm sorry, they're gonna have a tough time getting into C or B. Because take a look at MW1's position. He's very aggressive towards A, and that basically indicates to Velocity that GodLike will hit either B or C. And now they are ready. They need to stop this plan from happening.
Rexy. He kind of knows that MW1 might push in because he does have the tendency to go on a backstab quite often. But as of now, the clock is certainly ticking and godlike. They don't have a lot of real estate to work with. They're still fiddling around the mid area, still trying to explore the garage avenue as well. Right to his spots one. MW1 finally spotted, but Hevan shuts him down. Flex. Is it time for him to actually move further?
30 seconds left.
They're actually planting B, which was sort of unexpected, but Amaterasu and the rest of DLT, they find good timing to actually shut down. Maybe the planter, will they get him? No, not really. Flex with the dash, he finds 2 frags. White House finds 1 as well. A 2v3.
He definitely seems difficult, especially when Flex is just running and gunning like that, getting all these kills with the Spectre. And GodLike pull off the bonus round up against Phantoms and Vandals. I love the way how GodLike adjusted as soon as Rexy went down to MW1. Basically, every player from GodLike fell back and they decided to kill MW1 first. When they had that kill, when it was a 4v4, then GodLike decided to go in for the plant. They send the Jet inside, have Flex plant the spike, and he dashes back to safety before anyone from Velocity can intercept him. And with that, now GodLike have picked up the first 3 rounds of this half, forcing Velocity Gaming to go on an eco once again. And GodLike have a chance to equalize the score.
Oh no. Flex taking early contact. This time around, MW1 has been pretty passive, right? He hasn't aggressed through the A corridor because I believe that the last round shenanigans will discourage him. But information has been given out. White Horse from the C side. He's already made his way to C, and now Rexy finds 1 in garage as well. So this is a complete C garage take for them. MW1 and I believe the Phoenix as well. They've been redeemed useless at this point because the spike is going C, and I believe it's going to get front.
Yeah. They deny Velocity their eco frags, they deny any sort of economic damage, and GodLike continue to retain their weapons, which means they will have a snowball kind of economy right now. And they have so much credits. GodLike are just floating in money right now. We have Flex on $7,400. He was on $9,000 before he decided to re-upgrade his armor. Everyone else on the $5,000 mark. Only Hevan is kind of broke, but that's because he had to reinvest in the weapon in the previous round, not even this one. They will go up against Velocity Gaming with their full force. Both the teams on a bye round, so this is the one round that determines the pace of the rest of this game. Early aggression towards A will be shut down courtesy of that gravity well. But that doesn't indicate anything to Velocity. They still don't have information, and Whitehorse is very keen on selling this fake towards C. He's deliberately making noise with the Spectre. He knows he can't win that duel with the Spectre up against a Phantom, but he decides to take it nonetheless. Hevan loses the duel against Ace. Now, this was crucial. At this point, Velocity have figured out that GodLike are trying to make their presence known to its C and A both at the same time. So GodLike are trying to take a page out of Velocity's book where they go for the defaults, and Velocity will just play very, very passively. They will let GodLike walk into their crosshairs. Ace and MW1 both getting opening frags, and whatever plan that GodLike had cooked up at this point has been destroyed.
Yeah, and also the fact that Whitehorse has shown his presence in C, I guess, is going to discourage 2 players from the side of VLT to kind of push back and go for the backstab. They don't need a backstab right now because this is essentially the 3v5. Yeah. Most of them completely pinched in the A shot. Flex still trying to make his presence felt, but the gravity well, MW1 has been really doing good with the op, but Flex finally finds right to Ace, and now Flex and Whitehorse, they want to MW1 out of the equation. Amaterasu comes in, and he delivers a 1v2 there of his own.
Yeah, but this was a little anxious, right? I mean, these guys on the side of GodLike Esports, even though they had the man disadvantage, when the 3 of them just decided to push out of A, they were able to win the duels. Like, Velocity had 3 people stacked on A's side. It was basically a 3 versus 3 battle on A, and everyone was able to pick up a kill each. So GodLike, they know now that even though they are down in numbers, they can brute force their way into a side and Velocity will crumble. They have that confidence on them now. It's a different story that they couldn't plant the spike and Amaterasu was able to come in the nick of time to get those last 2 kills. But still, the fact that they're able to brute force indicates that GodLike have the potential to win rounds that they have no business winning.
Damn, this match has been pretty stressful. I mean, at a point it was kind of certain that Team VLT is dominating, but I mentioned that GodLike can certainly come back and 4 back-to-back rounds, and hell yeah, they do. But again, VLT, they find that very important 9th round.
The more important part over here is that Velocity recognized that Godlike are also going for the default splits and pick approach. I mean, Whitehorse made noise towards C, and the moment he does that, Hevan shows his face on A sewers. I mean, if they both happened at different times, then maybe Velocity will be a little confused. But because they happen at the same time, Velocity knew exactly what's happening. They knew that Godlike want to pick up these opening frags, and what does Velocity do? They don't give it to them. They hold their sights, they hold their crossfires and whatnot. Even if it wasn't a crossfire, they just continue playing where they are. Like, Velocity Gaming do not extend further. But this is a little bit of different extension. MW1 deciding to opt towards the garage instead of A will change things up. And Amaterasu on his run at back is forcing his way all the way down towards the A lobby. Doesn't get anything, so the early aggression from Velocity has been negated. MW1 sent back with 30 HP. The run it back from Amaterasu doesn't pay off any dividends. Godlike survived the initial skirmish, but they need to still get those frags. It's still a stalemate for pretty much everyone.
Yeah, but looking at VLT, they are kind of trying to make their presence felt in the A main corridor, right? The lockdown comes in as well. Helef will go down. Rexy finds the kill, but MW1 is going to find the trade. The lockdown is certainly to buy them some sort of real estate to work with, but it doesn't get the entirety of the entire side, right? MW1 is going to be able to slap Antidote out there, and Whitehorse finds 2 of his own. A 1v2 required of him, and he already has 2 kills right now, and he can certainly clutch it out. But the 2 players from Team VLT, both of them playing hand in hand. They don't want to offer 1v1 duels against this guy.
Yeah.
30 seconds
And the
left.
spike is under the control of Velocity
Yeah.
as well.
You are divided.
That
Should
cosmic
divide.
divide will only be useful after he captures the spike. And he can't
Long
even
thinking,
do
long-term
that.
thinking.
Yeah, long-term thinking. But unfortunately, he's a little short-sighted.
Nevertheless, I mean, GodLike, they've done enough to actually come back 8 rounds. So I mean, Velocity winning 2 rounds again, kind of neutralizes all the efforts that GodLike showed in this half. But again, I mean, I'm hopeful that they will get more rounds on board. But Velocity been pretty ruthless, right? I mean, that early aggression from right to ace and Amaterasu was pretty fruitful. MW1 with his op always repositioning himself from the A side to the B side to garage to C. You know, you always have to be on your toes and keep predicting where you'll find MW1 with his op.
And because he's playing in all these different positions every time, Godlike can't really go for any of those YOLO plays to pick up these fights because they're always scared. This time, Velocity Gaming are not offering early battles like they did in the previous round.
Here.
1 minute on the clock. Godlike Gaming still don't have any reasonable map control, no opening picks either. They're trying to knock on the doors of B, but that doesn't seem like a full-blown execute to me just yet. They might just change things up if they don't get anything over here. But so many people gathered up outside of mid means that MW1, he is gonna have a massive responsibility of his shoulders. His position's been revealed. He needs to pick up these fights right now.
Oh.
Wins one, dashes back, but Rexy will be able to bring it. Still, no aggression from Godlike just yet. Oh, Hevan all the way inside. He's able to get the kill onto Vibor, but then Ace pulls himself out of the Nebula and he gets the frag onto Hevan. Rexy's trapped over here. Hellfight is coming in to help as well. Oh, he's really good for one, but Rexy able to get that one frag in that difficult situation itself is big enough. Now Antidote needs to stop them, and the op is not the best weapon to stop the defuse from happening. Oh my goodness, he picks Amaterasu off. Half defuse is done already though. And Hellfight is just baiting his...
The gun barrel is very... Oh my god. I mean, the op, since it's a pretty longer weapon, the gun barrel will give away your position pretty much earlier than a Phantom and a Vandal would.
Yeah.
That's easy pickings for Helef over there, and I mean, I love the fact that in spite of they're trying to kind of execute a set piece in B, they always have someone who is present in that C corridor, which kind of discourages Team VLT to go for that wraparounds. We saw in the first round itself, Team VLT, they're very keen on trying to send someone aggressively onto a C exploration mission. And that white horse
Get out
present
of
in
my
the C
way.
corridor is just absolutely brilliant. But look at this. This time around, MW1 has placed his op in garage. Antidote really slowly walk into his crosshair. Or is he gonna Ferrari peek that guy? Helef still pinned in this position. The knights don't do much. Flex has been taken down, but in the process, Heaven finds a trade. Helef couldn't really do anything over there. But this time around, he is gonna find him. Rexy through the Nebula White Horse. He gets Helef in the process. So 3v3, a lot of frags went by. Early aggression.
Timing.
Attackers go goes bye-bye.
MW1 unfortunately was too worried about Garage and C at the same time, but after they get the kill onto him, they're going back towards B instead, because take a look at where Antidote is positioned. He's deep towards Gong. That means they can still plant over here and get into good positions. The only person who's doing this is Amaterasu, who's coming in from Cross. And the timing once again could be very unfortunate. He might not check Whitehorse, and Whitehorse isn't checking him either. They literally walk past each other. What is going on? Finally, Whitehorse will stop Amaterasu, but that was a little too comical.
Yeah. Even right to ace give away his position to destroy that recon. That pinch from B window as well as right to ace's position could have been really lethal if the timing was right, but this has been the case, right, throughout the day. The backstabs and the front resistance, they haven't been in sync with each other, and right to ace has to resort to saving his weapon for the very least. And godlike, they'll finally get back one more round after 3 back-to-back rounds from BLT. This is going to place them at 9-11, which is, again, pretty close, but I'm expecting this match to go to overtime as well, Cribs.
Could be. Maybe it will go into overtime. We don't know. For now, Velocity Gaming still in the driver's seat. They are very much in control of this game. They've got money as well. But this will be the last of their buys. You can see how MW1 has to downgrade to a Sheriff. Hellfighter only has a Guardian. Poor Vibhor doesn't even have shields this time around. Velocity Gaming are putting up the last of their weaponry. The only weapon that they have is Amaterasu's Phantom and Ace's Phantom, which he saved from the previous round. Oh my god, they both fall. That's it. The C site's open. It's wide busted.
Yeah, Heaven. He finds another one. 3 players down already, Team Velocity. But if look at this, the godlike, they want to go for a complete offense. The Lear is gonna blind Amaterasu. Right to ace finally drops a weapon at least, so he's gonna dent the economy a little bit, but the Nebula is already there. The stars are placed already. Right to ace. It's probably not aware that there's someone coming in from garage as well, but no, it's Flex. He'll find the kill, and godlike, yeah, they get their 10th round on board. Slowly and slowly, they are climbing back the cliff, but it has always been godlike chasing and Velocity taking 2 steps forward.
But this time, Godlike are on the verge of catching up with Velocity Gaming. They do have money this time around. Velocity Gaming, probably the last of their buys. Godlike still have enough money for one more buy in case things go wrong. But if things do go wrong, that will be Velocity reaching map point. Not just map point, match point, to be honest. 2 people revealed. They know this will be an A push, but oh my goodness, Velocity win all these duels! Rexy does bring it back to some extent, but the man advantage still lies with Velocity.
Nothing as of yet. Antidote out of nowhere. Helef peeks him and finds a kill. But no realistic as of now. 2v4. That is actually a bit tough for Team Godlike as of now.
Yeah, and the 2 remaining players are trying to explore different avenues. Rexy trying to explore what's going on the B side, but
Here comes the
his
backstab.
teammate Whitehorse is on A. He retrieves the spike, but he loses it immediately to Amaterasu, and Whitehorse also can't liberate A. That is it. Velocity Gaming, they reach map and match point. They are on the verge of knocking Godlike down to the lower bracket.
As soon as Team VNT win those early fights, they know that there is they know there is no backstab protection, right? White Horse's position has always discouraged them to, coming in from the C side and making their presence felt near the A spawn, near the attacking spawn area. But this time around, they get the man advantage. They know it's a 4v2. They know they cannot fall back, and that is the reason why they go for the pinch. And the pinch was successful. MW1 with the daggers out pretty early. He needs to find Heavan, but Heavan has been pretty lethal.
Yeah, he decides to disengage. His team has the advantage, no reason to give it up. So they will continue to show presence towards A. But after
Deploying drone.
MW1 was spotted on A, he goes back towards B instead. This could be interesting because they won't expect him to rush out of mid. And he's trying to peek. You can see GodLike are very, very keen on fighting this. And Velocity Amaterasu, he activates his run and back. Rexy does trade him out, but Rexy gets the kill onto MW1 as well. Now this is an impact frag.
Big impact frags over there. White Horse. Will he push up Garage? That's a question. They still have to spy. They don't have any realistic chance of making it to a site as of now. They don't have big open spaces. But White Horse needs to create that opening. And he knows Garage is a place where he can certainly explore. Heavan moving into the Empress mode. The Astral Divide comes in as well. Divides side in two halves. Vivor will still try and defend. Amaterasu comes in from CT and shuts down Heavan right to Ace. He gets Rexy with the ultimate. This is all coming crashing down. This is Mayday. Team GodLike as they go crashing to the lower brackets.
Velocity Gaming were able to bring it back. Really nice job by Velocity Gaming as they are able to stop GodLike and read them like an open book on both the maps. In Icebox, they figured out that GodLike wanted to exploit mid in the last few rounds and they stopped them. They rotated all their players to the right place in the right time. And that's how Icebox went in the favor of Velocity Gaming. On Haven, GodLike tried to pull a page out of Velocity's book where they were the ones who are trying to get picks on every part of the map. Velocity was doing it in their attacking side, but when GodLike tried to replicate the same thing, Velocity just do not offer them these fights. They force GodLike to venture even further and further into the sites, venture into their crosshairs and their crossfires, where Velocity will be able to deny all the attacks from GodLike. And then whenever Velocity have the man advantage, which happened in quite a lot of occasions, they are able to secure the round. Let's take a look at the match highlights and see some of the best moments from this game.
Through that, I mean, man advantage was a win condition for both the teams, at least early on in this map. Team GodLike, the rounds where they got those initial picks, they could converge on the back of it, but most of the times it was Team VLT who was winning those duels, and that is one of the reasons why they entered the second up with such a healthy lead. And most of the times it was MW1 who was kind of opening up the side, finding himself in very precarious positions where Team GodLike just couldn't expect them to.
I mean, even if GodLike was able to expect what Velocity was doing, there were just several rounds where they could just not do anything about it. Even after having the information, GodLike were just not in a position to take the advantage away from Velocity Gaming. And information at that point was basically useless. It was not actionable.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, at this point, Velocity Gaming was on a roll. They were 5-1 up, and they were winning rounds everywhere. They were winning rounds left and right, and not just about real estate, they were also winning those duels as well, right? They were able to overload players with 2v1s and 3v1s and converting situations from 50-50 to a 70-30 in their favor, which mostly gave them their rounds, right? But I mean, I like the fact that Heavan always explored really good options. He was the one who was, moving up the C corridor through Garage as well. He was trying to do something creative with his flash and peek and then falling back combination. And he was probably one of the most influential players from GodLike who was able to kind of establish the man advantage if they get that for GodLike Esports.
Yeah, that is correct. Heavan was able to liberate all these sites on multiple occasions. There were some instances where GodLike Esports did not have the advantage, but even in those situations, they just brute forced their way inside and they won all the duels against Velocity Gaming. And Hevan, he was responsible for a lot of those as he provided most of the firepower for his team. Even Flex was able to step up on multiple occasions. Whitehorse was able to get some really good, crucial frags. And sometimes the frags that Whitehorse picked up were impact frags because they were the ones who, the ones were lurking. Whitehorse was able to kill the lurkers, which means that his teammates don't have to worry about them anymore. And when that happens, his teammates can focus in on one direction. That's what GodLike was able to do in the rounds that they won. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough as eventually Velocity Gaming overpowered them. Such good reads from Velocity Gaming going into the second half as well. Because every time Velocity Gaming were on the backstab, every time they pushed up either towards A main or towards C, it wasn't necessary that the backstab was successful, but at least with that information, they were able to rotate their players into the right positions to intercept Godlike whenever they were trying to breach a site open.
True that. I do remember this round where Flex just plants a spike and falls back to safety, but that really didn't do much, right? Because Team VLT, they were in position to perfect their trades. And this is what a team got, like, even though they did have some sort of trade potential going in, but Team VLT, they just did that a tad bit better. I mean, most of the time it was Flex who was trying to create an opening, but then MW1 was about, shutting him down with the op or anything else. This was one of the occasions where Godlike probably won that round. So if they take down MW1 early on in the round, or in for that fact, somebody else as well, they could actually take side control and plant the spike. And after that, I guess Godlike generally wins the round, but most of the time it was MW1 winning their duels, early duels, and, making things easier for VLT.
Yep, that was indeed a very interesting game. And most of the times, these teams were in positions where they could either read each other and counter them. If not counter them, at least they will be able to inflict economic damage. Let's bring in our host, Assassin47, and cue the analyst desk so that we can get a deeper look at what's going on inside this game.
Welcome back to the analyst desk of the LG Ultragear TEC Gauntlet Season 1, powered by WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon. I'm your caster Assassin 47. On the desk with me are casters and analysts, Crips and Salty. Well, yeah, in my opinion, that game was something insane, wasn't it? Like, we did expect Velocity Gaming to go ahead and take the victory, but hey, props to GodLike Esports for putting up a performance like that. Like, I know for a fact that both of our analysts here, they have a deeper insight into the game as well. But let's bring up the scorecard for map number 1 so that Crips can go ahead and explain to us as to what exactly went wrong for the side of Godlike Esports and why they weren't able to close it out in overtime.
So, as you can see, both the Jets were the most impactful players in Icebox, which is no surprise because Icebox is basically Jets' home turf. It's Jets' playground. That's where you would expect her to pop off. But the worst part of this map was that Godlike Esports had a couple of strats saved for the overtime. Unfortunately, those strats were the ones that Velocity can read like an open book. Like they saved all their mid aggression. Only one round we saw where Whitehorse was able to get down towards boilers. Even then, he was just sent back in back. Every time Godlike Esports tried to exploit mid, it was only when someone managed to either sneak in through tube or under tube into B oranges. Most of the time, Godlike were not able to exploit mid. Yeah, sure, their A executes were brilliant. Their B executes were also really good because they were able to get all the kills over there. But they never exploited that mid plus B or mid plus A aggression. The one time they did it, it was in overtime. But that play is so telegraphic that Velocity Gaming figure out what you're trying to do as soon as you put up that barrier orb. So unfortunately, they saved the mid strats for the overtime. And every time you do that, Velocity Gaming can position themselves accordingly to stop them. And it was that one round where MW1 was able to get a collateral, yeah, in the overtime. So that was brilliant. And that basically resulted in the demise of Godlike on their own home turf.
Yeah, today actually, Godlike Esports. So there are two sides of it. One is particular players not being able to step up. For example, Whitehorse, he had 9 kills on the map of Icebox, which is highly unlikely of him because we always see Whitehorse, despite playing the support, put up the numbers as well in terms of the fragging department. So yeah, a couple of mess ups from the side of Godlike Esports, as you did mention, but at the same time, I felt as though in Godlike Esports they were looking a little bit better, especially with these individual plays from Anti, and we have got individual plays coming out from Heaven as well. Talking about Heaven, let's move in over towards the map of Haven, where he did perform though, and we are going to be seeing the scorecard coming up on the board for the side of Godlike Esports and Velocity Gaming for the map of Haven. Salty, I want to ask you this: how exactly did you think the entire change in lineup from the side of Godlike Esports helped them gain 10 rounds against Velocity Gaming, and what do you think can they still improve as to, in order to put up that W against Velocity Gaming?
You know, when Deathmaker used to play, the entire strategy of Godlike Esports was built around Deathmaker. He was the one who was supposed to win your frags. He's the one who's supposed to be your primary duelist, enter into sites, open things up, and so that the others can follow him. With Flex, sure, those are some big shoes to fill, and he does have the mechanical skills to kind of get kills as well. But this time around, Heavan, Antidote, Whitehorse, Rexy, they split the responsibilities between them, right? I've seen Whitehorse perform in Haven, and he was the man who was most of the times positioning himself to prevent backstabs from happening so that the others can move forward. Havan, in the defensive side of things, he was the one who was going aggressive. He was pushing in from the C corridor. He was going through the garage area as well, progressing towards the door and then getting kills and then falling back instantly. He was the man who was checking the win condition. That was establishing a man advantage. Talk about Flex and Andy. Flex was most of the times kind of playing a non-flashy jet. He was getting frags, he was doing all the tough work. Like one occasion, he was planting the spike, and then instantly they fall back from the B side, right? They dash back away. So he was doing all those stuff, and Antidote as well. This time around, he did perform. So I feel like Godlike Esports right now have a very even Stevens lineup, which again will take some time to reach its full potential. But now that they have responsibility split between those five players, I believe this team can perform at the highest level possible and can go neck and neck against the best teams in the country.
That is completely true. And in my opinion, Godlike Esports, right? They performed a lot better on the map of Haven compared to the map of Icebox as well. And we could see the entire shift coming in as well with that switcheroo in roles. But yeah, Flex wasn't able to keep up with MW1 on the map of Haven, though. On the map of Icebox, both of them were pretty much neck to neck. But on the map of
Mm.
Haven, it was actually Havan to just go ahead and steal the show, steal the light for himself. And Havan did a quite an interesting job, that's for sure. And we know that he can do it. Like we know that he's a goddamn good fragger, and he has proven to proven to us as well many times that he is a good fragger. But yeah, now that Anti has picked up the IGL role, we could see him on the cam screens as well. Calling out the shots and just going ahead and fueling the entire team as well with energy. But yeah, let's take a look at the brackets now after this match, how exactly the brackets are going to look. Velocity Gaming advancing on towards the next stage of the upper brackets, and they're going to be joined by whoever's going to be the winner of Enigma Gaming versus Global Esports. That is going to be the match for the second half of the day. So yeah, now that Godlike Esports are going to be facing off against Force One Esports, what are your thoughts on that, gentlemen? Starting with you, Crips. What do you think about the brackets?
Godlike versus Force One Esports should be a very interesting affair. Not just because Godlike Esports were able to give Velocity a run for their money, and even the Velocity win it in a clean 2-0 fashion, both the maps were really, really close, which means Godlike Esports have the potential to make the best team in the country sweat. On paper, they are still a stronger team against Force One Esports, but then Force One have defeated Samurai. So that means they are not to be, overlooked. Godlike and Force One Esports should be a very interesting matchup. Velocity Gaming, they move ahead in the brackets and they will be facing the winner of Enigma versus Global. Now, Enigma, they have proven time and again that their ascent is almost impenetrable, and Global Esports don't always ban out Ascent. If that map gets picked up in that winners bracket game, it will surely be interesting.
Well, Enigma Gaming, they did have their own share of ups and downs recently, so hoping to see them perform at their full potential against Global Esports. Salty, any closing thoughts on the brackets before we go ahead and sign it off?
We lost a top tier team in the first round of the lower brackets for Samurai Esports. Now we have a Godlike versus Force One already. So we're on verge of losing another one. And I mean that's kind of sad, but then that again just goes to show that how much all these teams have improved and how much like the difference between tier one and mid tier two and one teams have kind of fallen short. So I feel like it's a good sign for the entire community as a whole that all these teams are performing. Now, Godlike, they need to kind of fight hard against Force One if they want to survive. Force One, they come from their victories against Samurai. So it's really hard to predict, but Velocity, comfortable victory in a 2-0 fashion. But just like Crips mentioned, the scoreline doesn't reflect how close the matchups were, especially the one on Aven.
So Velocity Gaming going into the next stage of the brackets. Now, as we are gonna go ahead and find out who exactly Velocity Gaming are gonna be facing off against in the second half of the day, I want you guys to go ahead and check out the amazing deals that have been brought to you by our sponsors, WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon, using the links down in the description below. There's also going to be pinned on the chat box. So please go ahead and check out our sponsors who have made the TEC Gauntlet possible. Also, don't forget to participate in the giveaway coming out from the side of LG Ultragear. That's right, you guys can stand a chance to win a brand new LG Ultragear gaming monitor. The link again will be found down in the description below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hit the bell notification icon to never miss another update, because we are going to bring you guys one more match for the day, which is going to be going live at around 7:30 p.m. IST. So don't forget to tune in for that. Enigma Gaming going up against the side of Global Esports, and the winner of that is going to be facing off Velocity Gaming in the next stage of the brackets as well. Next stage of the playoffs. So with that, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be seeing you guys for the next one. Until then, it's your host Assassin47 alongside Salty and Crib signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in.